Excellent, thank you. I think that we should just go ahead and proceed without cord, if that's okay with everybody else. All right, so for today's Advisory Budget Committee meeting, first up we have the town clerk and tax collector, please. Hello. Hello.
Won't take too long. We care, we want to hear you.
Denise and Schmidt does the notes, will care.
Yeah. Is the little green light on?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I just a little bit. I'm here.
Yes. Yes.
No, is it?
Can you guys hear right there?
I'll talk loud. Did everyone get, I have copies if you don't have what I emailed.
If you have a copy, I appreciate it.
The,
I like looking at stuff.
I'm gonna make,
Let's see, that's okay.
I'll take myself one.
the election
Thank you.
is a little bit
I've got a copy, thank you.
I'm good, thanks.
is lower for fiscal year '24 because there are one less election. So that will reduce the moderator, supervisors. I highlighted the ones that change. Ballot clerks. Printing of ballots also includes the processing of the memory card that goes into the machine for the all the elections. But I just got the bill for the primary and it was $1,500, about $400 more than the last time. So I'm leaving that. I moved it to $3,600 only because I think, well, the price has gone up. Printing. Training hasn't been used all that much, so I reduced it to $100. So that reduced the budget for that year. However, the next year, well, the next 2 years will reflect increases because we'll have we'll have 4 elections in '25, but that's why that one fluctuates. Town clerk. I just input the wait for the wages for the deputy and, I don't see it here, for me, where am I? Somewhere. Anyway, oh, there it is. Oh, salary. I just left those as is, no increase. I don't know whether you all are gonna just recommend a % increase. Greatly appreciated if you do. But this is just status quo, the wages for this year as to next year to the next year. As far as overtime, I totally underestimated overtime, so I put in $1,500, increasing it $1,000 to bring it more in correct with what actually is being spent. Lien searches, it runs, that is when we go to lien and deed, we have to have mortgagee searches. Last year we had 46 properties that went to lien, they're $25 a property, so that was $1,300. We didn't have any go to deed this year, or let's see, last year, this year. So next year, if something goes to deed, it'll be about, looks like it's running about 10 if they go to deed, so that's another $25. So that's why I increased that to $1,600. Again, it's a guesstimate as to what it's actually going to cost.
What does it mean to go to lien and go to deed?
When a property, so this is 2022. So if property taxes are not paid by, but last year's 2021 taxes were not paid, we start the lien process, which means that they haven't paid, so we're going to put, the town is going to put a lien on their property. We send notifications out in February. There's statutes that tell you the time frame, but it's got to be at least 30 days prior to each of the processes. So we send just regular letters out, then 30 days after that, we send certified saying, if you don't pay, we're gonna lien. Then we have to notify the mortgagees, which is where the lien searches come in. And then if they don't pay, usually it's in April, usually towards the end of April, if they haven't paid after all that time, we actually place a lien on their property, which gets recorded with the Registry of Deeds.
Okay.
So if they were ever to sell the house, we would get our money.
Yeah.
And as long as they, and also that does reflect on their credit reports.
Okay.
So once they pay it off, then we send lien redemptions, which is another line on here. We have to pay to get them redeemed. And so it'll come off of their, their credit report and that sort of thing.
Okay.
If after 2 years and at least a day, after it's liened, if they have not deeded, if they have not paid, then the town can deed the property. And we go through processes, again, notifications of mortgagees and all that, and then there's a specific date, usually it's the first week or so in May is when we do it. If they do not make arrangements, which some of them have this year, or paid that lien that's going to deed, then the town can take their property.
Okay.
It's deeded to the town and becomes the town's property.
Okay. Do we charge the property holders for any of those ancillary costs that you're describing, like to run the lien report and the deed?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, there are fees. When we send mortgagee notifications, there's additional fees that we add to the lien, so
Okay.
that when it becomes a lien, it's included in that. Yes, the statutes,
Got it, okay.
yeah, statutes let us say that we can charge, they tell us what we can charge, $10 or $20 extra.
Okay.
How many
Thanks for
a year would go all the way to being taken as,
Deed?
yeah?
Well, actually, interesting enough, I was ready. This year, and what looks like is possibilities to go next year, are about 10 properties. Actually, Denise did a great job this year contacting them and finally got people to make payment arrangements. That has to be approved by the selectmen. The selectmen will accept if they stay with the payments, then the selectmen usually don't take the property, but if they don't stay with it, the selectmen can choose, the select board can choose to say deed it, and then we go through the process and deed the property. So the past couple of years, it's been about 10 possibilities. I can't remember when the last one was. We actually deeded. It could have been at least 5 or 6 years ago.
And the numbers can be all over the place. You have people that have made no reasonable attempt and have $40,000 or $50,000 in back taxes, interest, and penalty. I think this year we had someone who was going to lose their mobile home for $26 or $28 just because they had changed
They
mailing
ignored,
addresses so
yeah.
often and ignored the notices. And finally, I think Denise and you got a hold of them and pointed out that it was $26 to preserve a $50,000 or $60,000 piece of property. So.
Thanks for that explanation.
Oh, no problem. Let me know if I didn't explain it well, and I can either email you or we can talk about it. And so that's the lien searches, everything else stayed the same. Office supplies, I'm requesting to leave that, obviously, in the past couple of years, we haven't used quite that much. However, we have printers that are required, specific printers that are required to be used for registrations. We have, Liz's and mine kind of went glitchy, and they're not cheap, they're $500 or $600. But we were able to fix them so that they're working. However, I'm anticipating, plus we also have an opportunity, well, not an opportunity, it's available for us to purchase, what do you call it?
The signature pads?
The signature pad,
electronic
yeah.
signature
Was it
pads.
500 or 250 each?
500 each.
They had it, yeah, the ones that we wanted.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring it with me. Liz researched it, so it's a signature pad so that when you come in to register your car, get a title app or whatever, you sign the signature pad and then it prints out on all the registrations, so you don't have to sign. So, but those are $500 each. I found, Liz researched it this year, so if there's enough money at the end of this fiscal year, we were thinking of getting it. If not, I'm gonna see if we can shoot for the next year.
Would you mind describing what's in the software line item?
Software is, we have two programs that we use. One is called Avatar. Avatar is our tax collecting software that we use. That's where we input all the tax payments and, and process, get our reports, all that information. So that one runs about $3,500 a year is the software support. And then the other one is Interware, and that's the software that we use for our registration, processing, titles, dogs, and any other money that we take in. It's a miscellaneous as well. And that one runs about, that with the support, and is about $6,000. Not only are we paying for the software, but we're also paying for support.
Okay.
And especially with the Clerk Works, the Interware, on a daily basis, we're on the phone with them. If we having problems with the system, they can come into the system. Well, it's the same with Avatar. They can come into the system remotely and walk us through or help fix whatever's wrong. They also are great support for if we can't get through to MA. They know a lot of things if we have questions. And I forgot what I was going to say on the other thing. But but it's not it's software, but also the support. Oh, I know what it was. Also the Blue Book. We have they have all the updated Blue Book information on vehicles, so that when we plug in the VIN number, it populates, so we don't have to go searching for it in our books or whatever. So it's not only software, it's also support.
Okay. I'm just wondering, maybe this is a question for you, Andy, but like anything that she's describing here, would that be picked up by the software that you're thinking about in terms of the third party?
No, this would be completely different.
Okay.
Avatar is the assessing and town clerk base for property evaluations. Pretty much, not everyone uses Avatar as their assessor, but pretty much everybody uses their base software for assessing and taxation. And the Interware is it's an ACH software that basically allows the collection of payments via plastic. And the base contract is with Linda's office because Interware's primary software program is, as she mentioned, called Clerk Works. We're in the process of looking to add additional options to that in other departments, enabling Parks and Rec and the transfer station and some other people to also utilize that. And there'd be no particular additional cost because Linda has that initial contract. We can add other options to it. But no, the MRI MTS software would not replace anything that Linda has.
Okay. Thank you.
What's the MRI software?
It would replace Tyler
Okay, yeah.
from Level Party.
Well, it just, and I don't know, just a comment is that I don't know, I believe Avatar and Clerkworks can interface. I know Avatar can interface with certain,
They do, so you can see people's payment history on their tax
but also
billing.
interface into the general ledger. And I'm not sure that we want to do that. Anyway,
Have the discussion.
that's a
with
whole
Joanne.
side thing, sorry.
Thank you for explaining.
So yours is cut off from the internet so that you can't have it hacked, or is there?
I'm sorry, we can't have what?
Hacking problems.
That's through,
Back Bay is
Back
our
Bay.
primary IT
Right.
consultant that handles our security. And we do have various security precautions and protocols in place.
Okay. And I'm assuming the software is being separate, and it's probably pretty safe too, as far as that. I'm just concerned with some of the towns and cities that have been hacked, and
Yeah,
then you're in
Peterborough being the classic example.
Yep.
And that actually didn't have very much to do with cybersecurity. It had a lot to do with emails that duped some employees. Municipal Association has a conference on that where they walk through exactly what happened that we've been to.
Any other questions for the clerk?
Yes. Can you speak, the moderator has talked to certain of us about increasing the wages on the people that help with elections. Is there anything in there for those particular people, or no?
did Dawn talk to you?
Dawn has talked to the
about
board about it.
Yeah. But he never actually came forward to me to say he wanted to.
Okay. I'm just asking, I didn't know if you put something in.
Yeah, no, he and I, when he was looking into it, I told him that, eventually I'm going to be doing the budget and everything. He did not, I'm not sure whether what he found out was, satisfactory enough to just leave as is.
So
No, it
I
does not
collected some
include.
information, which I think I gave to the board as well as Dawn about what surrounding communities do.
So I'm thinking that maybe, because this is your budget, can you have a conversation with Mr. Quigley?
I will.
And
yeah.
just see
Yep.
what he's proposing, if anything, but I think we
Alright.
should address that particular issue.
Yep.
Specifically with the supervisors of the checklist and the election workers.
Yeah, I think, yes.
with us, it's not going to be, I don't think we will need additional hours. I know he had put in more ballot clerks and spread people out as far as more rows and trying to change a few things. So I'm going to be surprised if you don't need to put some more in.
Yeah. Well, this was in reference to their hourly rate, not the number
Oh,
of
the
hours.
hourly rate,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, the hourly rate,
So-
and that's what I,
okay.
So maybe it's a combination of both.
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
So they know their business better than we do, so I would like them to propose something.
I will check with him, and do you want me to come back, or do you want me to just email you? all?
You can just let us know if you want to change any of these particular numbers
Okay.
based on those conversations you're going to have
Yeah.
with them. The other question I had, can you walk us through, I understand, I think maybe officially, that you're not running again. So could you walk us through what the plan is? I understand there's somebody that's interested. What are you going to do in terms of their assistant? Can you walk us just through that process?
Is he outing you?
Yeah, no, he's not. I have indicated that I am pretty much not going to run next year. I have not come out of the closet and said I am.
I'm forcing you out of the closet because that has budget implications.
It does. And actually, unfortunately, I did not plan totally accordingly for this fiscal year because or did I? Did I add assistant? Oh, I did. Okay. So when I fully announce that I am not going to run, what I'm looking to do, and this, well, Liz and I have kind of talked about this. Liz is going to run. As of the other day, Liz was going to run. What I would like to do is start looking for someone in January. Only because, what I was going to say was my mistake was I was thinking, okay, we'll find someone in March. And so from March to June, I would still help out. And that's why for this fiscal year, there's $4,000 in the budget.
Okay.
I would like to see, because my plan is we find somebody In March, Liz runs, and then this person that we bring on, I will help train. And because it takes anywhere from, 17 years, I mean, I've been here 17 years, and today I learned something new. I mean, we're always learning something new. But to allow someone to actually sit at the desk alone and service customers can be up to 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
And even then, at that 6 month point, it's a little scary. But, so I'm planning on staying to help. So for next year, if we find, hopefully somebody, if anybody knows, it's a great job. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You have Tuesdays and Thursdays off for the most part. It's really,
She's
so if you know anybody, that would,
And who should they contact? Because you're doing an ad right now. Go ahead.
oh my Lord, okay. Either Liz or me, the town clerk's office. So to bring someone on, love to bring them on in January or February, then they would sit, because they can't even go to the town clerk or the clerk training until they've sat in the office with somebody for 30 days. So they have to be in the office and observe everything that's going on. Because once you go to the training, when you go to the training, they're going to be talking about things, if you haven't been watching, you're going to go, what are they talking about? And to absorb everything, because town clerk is only, or registrations is only one part of it. Then you've got registrations, then you've got dogs, you've got
Vital record.
vital records. Vital records is marriage licenses and printing, printing out the certified. Then you go over to tax collect, and you've got, collection of taxes and leaning and deeding. And I mean, it's not just, oh, you register my car. Well, yeah, probably, I don't know, 60% of the time, maybe we do, but there are so many other things that you gotta learn. Sorry, long story short, it's not an easy learning, I mean, it is a learning curve. So I would at least, I see myself staying at least, once we get somebody, probably 6 months, just to make sure that person is comfortable. So what did I put in here? I think I left it at
4,000?
4,000. Because I think if we get somebody in January, I underestimated this fiscal year. I underestimated it, but I guess we'll see if we get somebody. So, did that answer your question?
Yes. So in terms of for the fiscal year that we're in right now, how much extra do you anticipate cost-wise?
Well, if you
Any
got,
idea?
if we got somebody in January. Well, it might work, 7 times, 10 months times 30 hours. All right, well,
About
so if
15?
you got 7 months, yeah, I was gonna say, if you got 7 months at 30 hours a week,
Yeah.
$10 an hour would be, what, 2,100 times? So, no, maybe I'm not wrong.
Okay. All right.
So that might be a good number. Pardon?
You're gonna get somebody at $10 an hour?
No, I was just thinking it's easy to $10 an hour
Doubled it, yeah.
would be 21, and then add another, $5 is 30 something, so, no, that's probably,
So in terms of personnel, there'll be the full-time town clerk, tax collector, and then half-time?
there would be, in the beginning, there would be a full-time town clerk tax collector,
Mm-hmm.
then I would move into deputy, I would be the deputy, and then there would be an assistant.
So for that 6 months, there's going to be really
Assistant,
Right.
one full-time and 2 part-timers? Is that-
Correct.
Okay.
correct.
All right.
There would be because the town has to have a deputy. So whether the deputy is full-time working, because my anticipation would be that even after the assistant comes up and running, a deputy has, well, should be able to step into, if something were to happen to the town clerk, tax collector, the deputy should be able to step in and keep it moving. The assistant, in 6 months, is not going to be that deputy. You have to make the call when the person is ready to become deputy. But the assistant may not be deputy for a year. I'm willing to be, even if I don't work and they won't, I can be deputy.
Just to clarify, that they emphasize this at training that we just went to, there's a law that requires it. There's an RSA that says you have to have a deputy. So if a town, something happened, an emergency, some towns have had to borrow, somebody from another town or whatever, but you're required to have someone in that position. So.
Is there any other requirements, since you were doing an employment advertisement here? Do the deputy and the town clerk have to be residents of the town?
Yes. In towns, cities, no. In towns, they must be a registered voter, and they have to be a resident of the town.
Okay.
Narrows the pool.
Yeah, only in St. Louis you can prove mental instability.
Well,
So you looked into it?
Yeah, they might be mentally ill if they take that job, so. That's a lot of work you ladies do, so.
It's a great job. It's a great job, it's a great town, and I love doing it.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And next up, we have the Conservation Commission.
Hi, I'm Dawn Jean, I'm the chair.
Hello, Dawn, thanks for joining us.
I do have handouts for you. I'll give it even though you might still have it in front of you because I added a page with a little bit more detail. But we are a very busy commission. We have a lot going on here. Hardworking folks that are some working themselves to death with all the things that are going on. But we are established under an RSA, and there are things that we must do. So I've organized our request along the lines of the main things that we do. So being on top of what our natural resources are in town is one of the primary ones. We have a need to update some of our maps that we have. The map of conservation lands last was done in 2013, so it's not accurate, and there's some other resource things that we'd like to be working on that would help us understand better about aquifer protection and floodplains and things like that. So there's a budget in there. We have yet to have the discussion with Stratford Regional Planning, but that's the placeholder to talk to them about getting some mapping done and being good at our resource assessment. The second area is what we do with outreach and education, which we really take seriously, and you see our weekly e-crier articles that Catherine Fisher, best naturalist in the world, writes every week. We're active on Facebook. We hold a couple of public workshops each year on this topic or another. Early last spring, it was about Emerald Ash Borer. I myself, even though I've heard about it for years, I came home and I looked at my green ash in the backyard and went, crap, I got it too. So, it was an eye-opener for me, but we did an apple pruning one too, which was apples that are in an abandoned area and wild now, and you do some pruning to bring them back so that they're an enhancement for wildlife. We've been sponsoring a Kid to Conservation Camp every year. It's usually the 4-H camp, which has natural resources to it. We're thinking that we probably advertise it in November, December, and maybe try to split it where we're not paying the whole price, maybe split it so that it's you pay half, we'll pay half. I don't know if there's more than just the 4-H camp. Audubon has camps they run at Massabesic or over in Concord, but that's probably too far. But if anybody knows of any other, we would open it to any natural resource camp if there's some of those available, and then do it more as a bonus, not paying the whole load is what we're thinking. But
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
How do you advertise the scholarships?
well, it hasn't been advertised widely. It was usually Laura Gund would find somebody, and it tended to be through the 4-H groups.
Okay,
So that's generally how we found them.
okay.
And 4-H is getting a little bit smaller, but we thought maybe we should try something new. So this will be a new twist for us
Okay.
if we change it up this year, unlike what we've done before. I'd like to try. We also work very hard on stewardship of the conservation lands. We have over 2,000 acres of conservation lands, and we are out monitoring conservation easements where we're the town of Lee is the primary easement holder. We are doing approximately 30 private parcels every year, and 9 that belong to the town. So we start in April, and we're not done until the end of October. Every Wednesday morning, going to one property to the other, and we walk the boundary lines, or as close to the boundary lines, or some properties are real big. We do one side, like Phil Sandmark, we'll do one side of Lee Hook Road one year and the other side the next year to be able to cover all of that. So that's a huge amount of work, and it tends to be 2 or 3 of us at least that are along on that. We, as you know, have been working on the town lands and formed a year and a half ago the Trail Committee. It's subdivision of the Conservation Commission, so because with the easements, we have to oversee what happens. But thank heavens, there's been this really eager group of people in town that want to get some work done, and at a lower average age than the Conservation Commission. And quite energetic, and they have just done terrific things. So that's what page 2 is about, is to give you the summary of since they formed, the work that they've done. And the thing that gets the most attention is the replacement of footbridges, but they've put a lot of work into a lot of things. So because this is on town-owned land, and they focus on town forest, Maud Jones, and at Little River Park, because the lower portion of that park is under conservation easement. Those 3 parcels for now. And so there's still more work to get done there. Ecological management, town-owned land, there are several that, for example, the primary purpose of preserving them is for early successional habitat, with hopes that maybe the New England cottontail might come back, but mowing those fields to keep them open for that kind of habitat, we pay to have those mowed. Sometimes we do pay for some invasive species control, so that's a placeholder in the budget for those kinds of things. And then stewardship costs, because we are monitoring, and occasionally we have to do a survey on a line, or maybe it's a town-owned line and a butter that creeps over, and maybe they're not quite sure, or the flags have gone, or so sometimes we have survey work that we have to get done in order to make sure that we're protecting the town's interests. And then at the end, we do partner with a lot of other organizations, Timberland Owners Association. We belong to the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions, which is a great resource to us for training and the resources that they have, the handbooks that they have about what a Conservation Commission's obligations are, et cetera. And we try to have 2 or 3 of us go to the annual conference, which is about $50 a piece for attending that and learning good things, and then a little bit for supplies. So that's our request. And over on the right in the green, I was just thinking about, gee, just how much time do we spend on this stuff? And this is just a rough guess, and then going by what the website for where, I knew it was in the 20s, but at $29.95, the value of a volunteer's time. And then I realized I didn't even include the trails people, which is well over another 320 hours and about $10,000. So for, the budget is to protect and take care of the town's resources, what the town properties that the town owns, and so that the natural resources are in good shape. And I think you get a good return on your investment. So any questions?
Can can you speak a little bit about, because you work with other organizations and you've got a grant for the Little River Park stuff, could you speak a little bit about that? And also mention to people your, what is it, the 14th? You're having the,
October 15th. So
Oh,
the
15th.
Lamprey River Advisory Committee, which the Lamprey River as a watershed, the Lamprey main branch plus 5 tributaries is a state designated river. It's also a national wild and scenic river. So they get funding through the wild and scenic program, actually. So they gave us a grant to, at Little River Park, if you've been down to the river on the lower end, it would drop down over the hill and then you're in a floodplain area. And everybody wants to go out to where you can be next to the river. And there was a rusty culvert that you had to step over and hopefully not through. And then there was another wet area. But the destination's always to the end of that. And it's a gorgeous spot. And so Lamprey River Advisory Committee gave us a grant in order to build a boardwalk so that we can cross over the mucky part. And then we also had to do a span to get over and take out that rusty culvert so that that's not an issue anymore. Substantial job. The trails guys that, you know, one of them, Martin Thornton's an engineer and he designs everything. So it's substantial and it will stay. There can be a flood down there and it is anchored in and it won't go. But that grant was for that, plus the big new trail kiosk that's at Little River Park, installed before the parking lot got expanded, and now maybe it looks like it's not in the right spot, but that's another issue. Anyway, big and beautiful, and the other part was the trail markers, which have QR codes. So you can go through there, just hold your phone to it, and then everything that we wanted you to know about that spot is available on the QR code. So no paper has to happen, no printing costs, no trash. So that was one example, and the select board will be getting, I'll show up soon to let them know that the Lamprey River Advisory Committee wants to fix the canoe launch down at Waterloo Falls. Now that won't be money in and out. This was actually money that they gave us to do that project in and out. The other one's different. So, but yeah, it's a source of grant money sometimes of how we get things done.
thank you.
Are there any easements on the horizon?
Yes, possibly. Working with one landowner now. And it's looking like the landowner will probably be donating the value of that easement. And so there won't be a cost. And as chair, it's going to be my first time through one of these, but we're looking at if there's some ways to help alleviate the costs associated with making the easement happen. So, yeah, got one in the works, sort of. Yeah.
I know we talked about the forest management plan and where we're at on that, and it's probably time to do some. Is that something that would cost more money? Is it
For
plan?
a specific property?
Yeah, I went through a bunch of them and they all said in like 15 years, and it was about 15, 20 years ago that we did it, right?
I don't know the expiration of these, you know, and we always depend highly on Don Quigley as our town forester. You know, he's got an eyeball on Ma Joan Forest quite well. The town, I would say town forest, one of the things that we paid for in the past year was that there's 4 parcels that make up the whole town forest complex. They came at easements of different times under different names, and the surveys were all at different scales. So last year we had a surveyor compile it so that at least we could put all of the boundaries together instead of having, you know, pulling out a big piece of paper like this and a big paper like that, but they were at different scales. It kind of messes the mind trying to figure that out. So we have planning that should happen where we're looking at the whole parcel. We're having a lot of discussions each month about bicycles on trails and should they or should they not be there? Does the easement allow it or not allow it? And what to do? And if we interpret the easement that it's no bikes allowed, how successful could we be? Or do you look at the whole town center area from trails and bikes and pedestrian and the multimodal path that perhaps, through Stratford Regional Planning might have? How does all that fit together? But that's a broader than us, that's more than we could take on, but it certainly would lend itself towards a multi-group in town looking at the bigger picture. But management of the town forest from an easement perspective is our responsibility. We're so busy with monitoring through the non-winter months that last winter we took on going property by property and doing easement summaries. So it was a quick read because otherwise you're going through the legal document. But we came up with a standard format, so we got 5 done last winter. We'll be working on some more. But town forest is so complex, we didn't tackle that one right away. But definitely we're looking at trying to be on top of that. But with the heavy use that the town forest gets, it needs some resource assessment. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Energy Committee.
Brandon, Howard Lanning, Energy Committee Chairman. We're requesting $500 like we had last year. We just put in a request for entering a membership to Clean Energy New Hampshire Municipal membership, and that was $250. And I believe that went through today.
It did.
It did? Okay, nice.
I'm sorry, I forgot to have you sign it. Yesterday.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So one of the reasons for that is that Clean Energy New Hampshire is a fairly large organization with lots of information on what's going on throughout the state energy-wise. And they have a large conference once a year. Last year and the year before, it was online because of COVID. But this year, they're doing it live, October 14th. We get 2 free tickets, so that uses up a lot of the $250. So there's lots going on. There's more activities than one person can do. There's one of the nice things is you can meet other people from other energy committees throughout the state to get ideas from them. And they have lots of information on vendors. So the main focus of the committee, as usual, is energy efficiency for the town and also for the homeowner. October 25th, we have a speaker coming from the New Hampshire Saves program, certified. He's a certified contractor and also a speaker who will talk about energy efficiency in the home, and that's paid by New Hampshire Saves. So that's going to be great. We had one 4 years ago, 2019, 3 years ago. It was very nice. So we're going to try to get the word out, get as many homeowners possible, and anybody that wants to know how insulation works and how to button up your house, and then they also talk about energy efficient appliances, everything they can get to. They talk about how to get rebates. So that's coming up. Another thing that's going to start next week is the committee will be focusing on the community power program, and somebody is coming. We have a presenter coming from Standard Power.
Ryan Polson.
Ryan Polson. So I think that's going to be about 10 meetings, something like that. Quite a bit. So that's going to take up. And hopefully something will come up, like I've been talking to people from the library about where they can get rebates. I've talked to 2 contractors who are willing to look at the library, though they're taking their sweet time coming, but eventually. One of the contractors is the speaker for the New Hampshire Saves Button Up presentation on October 25th, because he works for Yankee Thermal Imaging, which is a certified contractor for insulating. So I could hopefully. Any questions?
I don't think so. Sounds like you're doing a lot with $500.
Yes.
Well, we didn't even use it last year. We wanted to put on a big concert, but that never happened, so. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lou. Yes, it's in.
Moving right along, Sustainability Committee.
Hi. I only brought 5 copies because we're the Sustainability Committee.
I appreciate that.
We can share over here.
Okay, so.
Thanks for sharing.
They're sticking together, so maybe.
Oh, right, there it is.
I'm Dean Rubine, I'm the new chair. And our old chair here for backup here.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Dean Rubine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. We're keeping our budget request the same at $1,000. The committee interprets sustainability pretty broadly because the town already has an energy committee, an ag commission, a conservation commission, and we had a solid waste committee for a while. So besides the usual kind of sustainability stuff around recycling and waste and energy, we're trying to focus on building community and supporting our local artists and craftsmen. We even did a little IT. We tried to spur some IT along, but now we have a municipal IT committee. Most of our money that we do spend goes to supporting joint programs with other committees. Our big budget item is often the backyard farming initiative, where we pay the $500 for the Grange rental. This year they did it all outside at people's houses, which was pretty great. And so we returned that money back to the town. So we didn't use half our FY22 request grant. The rest of the money is generally spent toward expenses for contests and events. We've run Lee Trees, we've run the most useless thing in your house, things like that. And we fund the prizes. We buy things from local vendors for prizes. That's what we use that money for. And general sort of printing costs. We just had our Made in Lee Artisan Fair, and we did that. I think it was the day before Mother's Day, so that was a very big success. And we, I don't know if we formally said we're going to do it again, but I think the committee intends to do it again. And that was a minimal cost because we used the masked way. And we generally try to keep costs down, so I think there was just some printing and sort of office type expenses associated with that. We use free storage when we can, and most of what we do doesn't cost anything. We write I have all the stuff from the fair. We write a lot of e-crier articles. These are the contests, let's see. And these are kind of town documents, of general use to the town that we try to produce. I think the most, I lost it here, but the best one is the One Bin at a Time, written by Jen Messiter, which is pretty much a book that describes how to use the transfer station. And we try to work with Steve to keep that up to date. And then here's a well awareness, and we're part of the regional compost committee, things like that. The compost, we're still working on an idea. We think table to farm, which might reduce the expenses from Mr. Fox. We can get people to give their compost to local farms instead of sending it to Mr. Fox, will save the town some money. That's pretty much what I got. You guys have any questions?
Who won the big prize for the most useless thing in your house?
Do you remember, Paul?
What was the most useless thing?
We didn't have a whole lot of entries, I guess people didn't want to pony up about the.
I'd be embarrassed.
But
You weren't allowed to enter your spouse. So. But I entered this thing called an egg or something. It's like a very expensive grill.
Oh, yeah.
My wife bought, and I think she put charcoal in once. And
People are big fans of those.
Yeah.
So apparently I could sell it, but it's been sitting on my porch for about a decade. I don't remember who won.
I do not either.
I'm sorry.
I remember electronic fly swatters as being.
That was one of the entries.
I love my electronic flies.
Exactly what it's.
I have to say that one bin at a time, I just came across it when I was looking, and that is really good. I have to say that it really educated me on amounts and costs and, really appreciated all the work that went into that.
Yes, and that's all. Jen, and we really appreciate
And
it.
team.
Too. And team.
I wrote, but I
Yeah.
relied on Steve and the rest of the committee, so.
She keeps it up to date too, and we always, it's always a little out of date because things always happen. But
Thanks for always
try
editing.
to keep it up.
You've had other towns ask for it too, right? Because they're so impressed by it, so it's pretty cool.
Well, it makes it easy, they can go on there and get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, everything is different, we have our own way of recycling that some towns do it sometimes.
Any questions for Dean?
So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have a representative from the League Readers.
I'm sticking around this.
Take off one hat.
Yeah, that's why I stayed with that.
There you go.
So, hi, I'm Jen Messiter of Wadley Falls Road, and I am a member of the League Readers Committee, which is new this year. And so this is the first time we've come to ask for money. And we're asking for $500 because one of our main things, our reason for being is to welcome people to Lee on a household by household basis. And we've been brainstorming and working on lists of things. What would a new resident need to know? And what kind of little gifts or handy things might we give out? So on the handy things that means purchasing stuff, we're thinking welcome bags. There might be some printing of lists. We would like to have maybe some gift certificates from local businesses or farms, maybe a little gift. And we are also thinking about recycle bins as, a thing to put the gift in. So we have done some research on bags and stickers with the town seal on them for the bag part, and $150 to get 100 bags, 100 stickers. I did a little initial research about 14-gallon recycle bins, those regular blue kind of bins. If we were to buy them at Lowe's, they're about $13 per bin. Other places were more expensive. We're hoping we can partner with Steve and the transfer station to get them bulk cheaper through NRRA, but we don't have numbers yet for that. We are also looking into potential fundraising so that we don't have to ask for budget year over year, but that's in initial phases. And Katrin, I think we were also thinking of asking for, is it AAR, what's the ARPA? ARPA?
Yes.
The pandemic money?
Yes.
To tide us over and if we get money in the budget, maybe ARPA funds to tide us over to buy bags and bins and whatnot to get us started until we can get up and running with budget, with fundraising, etc. So for now, our ask is $500. And that's what we plan to do with it.
Do you know approximately how many new residents enter Lee every year?
We've been asking that several times, but we've not been able to compile that information yet, but we will get that
I
information.
was just curious, and are you like including like if UNH students rent an apartment, like is this, they're to be greeted with all of these things as well?
Yes, we had talked about that, and I believe we are considering that with the thought that if we welcome renters, they might think, gee, Lee is a great place, we want to buy.
Future residents.
Yes.
And also there's new people.
We have Liz Stone, and so we figure people are generally going to stop in at the town clerk's office at some point when they're new to do something. And then that's how we can connect and give them their gift and ask what else.
While we were compiling lists, it was interesting because the people that are on the committee are like, oh, I didn't know about that, I didn't know about that. And so we realized how much of a valuable resource it'll be for everyone in the town, because we will have compiled big lists of things so that, so we'll make sure that's available to everyone.
Yeah.
That's just a way to welcome them as well.
Yeah, and that's to be determined as to, that there's probably going to be some kind of web presence for these lists so that everyone can access them. We talked about maybe doing twice a year or once a quarter get-togethers, not just for the new people, but for the veteran residents as well, to, people getting to know each other kind of thing. We have a list of ideas that we're kicking around. Right now, we're working on the lists and trying to figure out what do people need to know, right when they get here.
For the list, would that be able to be like posted to the Town of Lee website? Like, are you new here? Click here, this is the information you need to know.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think, web presence, I think, would be very efficient. We just hadn't gotten down to the details on that, but yeah.
We've also talked about a possible magnet working with the,
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of great working with sustainability, recycling, working with rec commission on maybe doing something together, working with public safety complex, and kind of thinking about how to get people emergency numbers to have them right away on their fridge when they first move in, just trying to kind of bring these pieces together so that you're more rounded.
And include the transfer station hours.
Yes.
Always a huge question. What is it open? What are the hours?
And the town hall and everything,
Yeah. And leveraging a lot of, number one would be a list of town resources. Here's the town website.
Yeah.
You want to know what committees there are in town? Here's a list of committees,
Yeah, we talked about at the events where you have people getting together, also having, possibly having committees that are looking for volunteers and things, having a place to meet. So there's a lot of things to grab.
When I moved here probably like 25 years ago, when the selectman's office received the deed change, they mailed out the town pamphlet, and it gave all the hours of all this transfer station hours, the town hall hours, and all the phone numbers, and it was great.
Website.
That is something that's still available. We get, it's a PS 34 form that we get notifying us of the deed change, so that's something that we can certainly
That should
talk to
definitely go
assessing
to the
about tracking
committee.
for you.
That'd be great, yeah.
How timely is that?
Once a month.
It can be, depending on how fast they mail them to us.
It's supposed to be at the end of every month.
It's supposed to be.
From the registry, we also get the individual forms from the legal firms that are making the change, but it's fairly.
If you know that, do you have any idea of the number? We've been trying to get it, of people that
Do you
move
think
in.
we could do a query? Probably.
I can probably use the Advertise software we were talking about.
Great.
How often the deeds change? We don't.
Just a bulk number, like a
Yeah.
good guesstimate.
Yeah.
Are we talking
So the
average year?
with those, you'll get also where people are putting their land into trust and
Right,
stuff
right,
like that.
right.
So
So we have
there's
to-
all these
I
other
do.
changes when
That's what we
somebody
figured.
buys, it's,
But the code on the sale query is different for
Yeah.
a trust. Those are different.
And if we had a little bag of goodies and had an X number a month available, and they could just grab them, then if somebody was missed, then I guess we double check it against that.
I can check the deed change.
Yeah, then you have enough.
No, go ahead.
Many of us know there's a neighborly Facebook page.
Yeah, we talked about all the
questions
pages.
that I liked was somebody who moved into town said, what day did they pick up trash? So not everybody who moves here even realizes it was picked up.
We want to help with all the growing pains and just really bring you into a smooth transition into our community so that you feel welcome and that you're part of it. So.
Yes.
The other thing you might want to contact is all the real estate agents in the area that deal with Lee. Because one, they can let people know when, oh, you just bought the house. the lead
Make sure.
readers will be contacting you, and, let some people know that, we care enough that new people are coming in, that we're gonna come and welcome you to the community.
Yeah,
So,
we are not actually able to get their individual information. A lot of it, we've dealt with legal stuff. You can't actually go to their house and stuff, but we can welcome them with us.
no, but if you let the real estate agents know, they
Yes.
can make the conversation and
Yes.
say, hey.
Exactly.
And probably also a good source of fundraising, those real estate
Could be.
agents.
That's actually a really good
Hey.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, Andy, were you
Brilliant
gonna say
idea.
something?
I can't remember. What
You're
it was.
taking
Oh,
notes.
I was going to tell you that all the real estate transactions for the month are available online too. I don't believe, it doesn't give you the name of the new owner, but you can certainly see.
That's great for sold, and then we look into apartments too, to see. Great. Sorry, I'm wearing a different hat, like reader's hat.
I know, you're like, select board?
Where is the greeter information if you're looking for that and you happen to actually rent to
Yeah, that's right.
individuals in town?
Oh,
So,
like if you're a landlord.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So once we figure out where it's gonna be, and it'll at least be on the league readers, we have a page on the town website, so it'll at least be there. If there's like a button on the home page or something, we're still figuring out exactly where.
Yeah, and maybe if we do something like have a magnet or something, you could have a little page, something on there if people just need more information.
Is there a way to contact them right now?
Not yet. Not yet.
The greeters?
We're still
You're
in
on the
development.
committee, apparently.
Yes,
So there's
I'm on
no
all the meetings
contacting
today,
you right
actually.
now, like I couldn't call you today and
There's no current
say.
reading.
We've only met, what, 3 times?
Here 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
We're
so
a
we
really
probably-
brand new committee.
Okay.
And we're still working on the lists and stuff, but.
It's hard with legal things too, so,
Yeah.
we wanted to provide a list of different things. So what do you include, what don't you include, and how do you make sure you're not representing the town? Those things we were really trying to wrestle with.
Like we want to have a list of local
I want you to
businesses,
go
but.
greet my people right now.
Well, you could give them my personal number, I'll give them a call, that's fine, I can go say hi.
Right.
But we're not ready to greet them officially as a town.
Yeah. We're thinking beginning of next year, hopefully
Oh,
we'll
good.
have everything ready to go. And I think we were even talking about, saying, okay, from January 1st on, but maybe also reaching out to anyone who moved in
Yeah.
this year, because we're,
Like back.
Yeah, go back a year.
Yeah.
But then when we have, hopefully we're gonna have these like sort of all town events, where anyone can, like if we do something like, get to know Lee scavenger hunt kind of thing, or if we partner, because I know the scouts already do one, but if we advertise what somebody's doing like that, definitely we say, hey, you're new to town, this would be a great way to get to know the town, but really anyone can do that. I've been in town since 2007, and I don't know where all the parks are.
Right.
So I
It'd be helpful for all of us.
Yeah, it's a chance to have, like, we're pretending it's for the new people, but we're all like, I'll also come and, I'll be old, but learn.
Yeah, and it's good,
Even if we've been here for
new people will
25 years.
get to know each other.
And if old residents are at events with new residents, they're gonna get to make new connections and then get involved. So the whole point is to bring people together.
Oh, name tags would probably be something we use our budget for.
That's a great idea. Something.
Name tags grease the wheels of conversations. So
Oh, yeah.
Then I would suggest alcohol, not.
That's a whole nother big area.
League greeters kicker.
that was exactly like, well, why
We did
not
talk.
a gift certificate to Flag Hill? It's like, well, not everybody drinks.
We're talking about having an either or. Do you want like booze in this bin, or do you want like some soap and some, like what kind of? Yeah, it's hard to figure out what everybody, because everyone's so different.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's about each
Gift
person's
certificate.
needs.
Do you want a gift certificate to this or to this?
Yes.
And you get to pick and
I would assume businesses would make donations.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, we think
To get them.
it's just a
Connected
matter of
up.
getting off the ground.
yeah.
If you wait about a year, you don't have to do that at Flag Hill, because they'll have other options besides alcohol.
Oh, there you go. Now we know. So
Their-
we'll party.
their
Thank
new
you for
facility-
listening, Toddler's Heart.
Their new facility, they're gonna have a place where you can get like pastries and light stuff, and then coffee and stuff like
So
that.
good to be there.
So it'll be more than alcohol, so it's expanded. Plus, they got the ice cream place right down the road.
Yeah.
So-
I'm never there when they're open.
Right.
They're 4 to 8, and they're closed, I think this weekend is the last weekend they're
Yeah,
open.
it's like,
Right.
it's I could walk there, and I
I've
still
been
haven't been
there
there.
at least 3 or 4 times already this year.
One of the things that takes so long
Nice.
is when you have to figure out how to make sure everyone that wants to be involved gets to be involved. So one of the things that's taking a while is, you know, yeah, we could say Flag Hill gets to do everything, but then that makes other businesses not, and since we're town sponsored, we have to be careful. So we might have a way of saying, you know, do you want to give X number of gift certificates from different places, and then the person can pick, or, you know, we're working on the details because it's inclusive for the community, but also for businesses and for everyone. So.
Can you share, because it's you two, who else? There's some other people, so. can you-
Yes.
Liz Stone, Bunny Coletti, and I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, our chair, Judy Belanger.
Yes.
Okay, good, excellent.
Carrie, are you?
League readers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one that came up with
He's
the
on the other,
thing.
I'm on a lot of committees, and he's on the housing committee with me.
We just appointed him to the Ag Commission, but, because he came up with
Are you
this
still adding?
whole idea.
Yeah, that's what I was recalling.
Oh, we'd love to have
To
new
league
members.
readers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we would love all
Yeah.
the help we can get. Please, hello, everyone, come join. It's once a month.
Can I out us about how we're thinking about the SharePoint thing?
Sure.
We're thinking about helping to arrange a all-committee get-to-know SharePoint, how do you get connected for the town thing? Because it's like, I'm on 2 committees, and both committees are struggling to get connected, so we're still using Google Drive.
Did we, I know I sent you that email, did you?
And I did talk to Steve about it.
Do you think that's terrible or a good idea?
I think he'll do it.
It's like, it sounds like a nightmare, but sure, okay.
He does have an interest because they've had, you know, I've referred multiple
Right.
people.
We're trying to save
So
him
through this
time.
room to
Yeah.
his people, and it has been, I think, you know, difficult for them too, so.
We felt like if it was something that was recorded, then you could first of all have everyone, so you could be at home on Zoom and you could be using your own computer, figure out how to get in, ask questions. 7 people are gonna have the same question, hear the answer, and then if it's recorded, someone else joins the committee, just, hey, watch this.
It's kind of a working session.
Yeah, just trying to save his time and energy and also get everyone just up and running at the same time.
Yeah. Because we found out those invitation emails expire.
Yeah.
We did not know.
I was not aware of that either.
They expire in 2 weeks, and the problem is when you get the invitation email and your meeting's not for another month, you kind of forget, and then
Yes.
you go to check it, and it's like
Can't
3 or
find
4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So,
So this is another thing we're thinking about doing, might not cost anything, but,
Right.
you know.
Any other questions for the league readers?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, the Recreation Commission, please.
Did everybody get what I sent?
Did you send just one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like
you
2 weeks ago maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm here representing the Rec Commission. My name is Karen Rossio on Westville Pond Road in Lee. The Rec Commission is asking for the same amount of money that we got last year, which was $10,700. We're trying to expand the rec program. We're going to keep the original events that we currently have, which is the egg hunt and the fishing derby, model rocket day. We started family night this past year, which was in June. It was a great success for the first time ever. In August, we're toying with having a food truck festival. At the, and then.
There's a lot of excitement about that one.
And this went,
It sounds
this,
fun.
we had talked about doing a movie night in October. And then I had done some research on movie night with the library, who has had movie night many times. And at the last rec meeting, we talked that the most attendance that the library had for movie night was 17 people, and that was actually in the afternoon, and that they found that movie nights weren't successful. So the rec commission decided to do a winter carnival in January, February of this coming year instead of movie night because it's not worth the money. So we're gonna start 23 off with the winter carnival, then do the egg hunt. This last fall, we did a trip to the Fisher Cats game, which was great. So we're trying to build more programs and use the park more. Another thing that we talked about at the last meeting was to take over the farmers markets because nobody's wanting to do those. So I've been doing some reaching out to farmers market vendors, and I was told that you needed to have produce every week, and the produce people who supplied to the farmers markets in the past are not interested in coming every week because they've gone elsewhere, but they're interested in every, like, once a month. So what I'm going to take back to the rec commission next week when we meet is, what about hosting a big event once a month, have whoever wants to come and have like music and entertainment to get more of a draw in. So we're gonna discuss that next week, because we need to start on that, getting the music and things.
Is the Nutcracker dead?
The Nutcracker is not dead, we're going to discuss the Nutcracker, also this next meeting to discuss going to the Nutcracker in Boston.
It's interesting that the police chief was the
Yes, he thought
driving
of that.
force behind a trip to see the Nutcracker in Boston.
Yeah.
Tom was very excited about that.
Yeah, which is great, because I have
That's
zero
awesome.
interest in that, so.
Well, it's funny, Exeter Rec did a trip to the Nutcracker in Boston when I was a child.
Did you go?
Yeah,
How was it?
it was great. We had a great, we all got on the bus, he drove to
Was the
Boston.
police chief on the bus with you?
I don't know if the police chief was on the bus with me, but I mean, maybe Mr. Laporta was. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, you never
From
know.
Exeter.
So we did research for the feedback that I got. I asked a bunch of people who went to the Fisher Cats game if they would be interested in it. The biggest thing was yes, but I don't want to take a school bus, because we had done a school bus. So the police chief reached out to Coach to get a price for Coach bus for Boston, so.
Interesting. Did you guys talk to C&J?
Do you remember who we talked to?
For the bus?
Yeah.
I had given him the number of the folks in Concord that we use in Deerfield.
Concord Coach line, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
something
think
like
that's what it was. It was $1,800.
Nick Taylor said it was $1,200, I think, for him when he did the whole around for the housing committee.
Okay.
That was the number that I had initially given Tom, but apparently COVID and gas prices and stuff have.
Well, in
This is
Boston
recent.
too, because
It's
you
more,
have to
right?
find, you have to pay tolls, you have to find a place to
Right.
park, so it's $1,800 for the night, which,
Right.
divide by 52, I think it is, if it's on a coach bus. I have the
Yeah.
information at the office.
And then if you get a discount on the tickets, I mean, the tickets just,
You get $30 off if you buy a bulk.
so that's gonna pay up for a lot of that bus, and then you don't have to worry about the hassle, and you get to be on a bus with lots of people dressed
Yes,
up.
and that would be Thursday, December 7th. We decided,
So fun.
well, me, Tom, and Andy talked, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but to go earlier in the month because people are busy or come
And they
closer
might
to the
not see
holiday.
it again.
So,
Interesting.
yeah, so that's it. So we want to keep the same. We're trying to do more. We're doing some improvements at the park. We're adding 2 more pickleball courts. Because pickleball court is
Huge.
huge. I need to get permission from the select board, or we need to get permission from the select board after we meet Wednesday night. I'm going to go to the select board at their next meeting, so in 2 weeks, to start offering fitness classes, because we now have a way to take money.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet.
Come on, Andy, you're killing us.
You will.
We will, hopefully soon, have a way to take money, to offer fitness classes, to try and make a little bit more and offer more activities for people, because the town of Durham uses our facility and they make money, so we should make the money.
What is Durham doing?
Fitness classes
At the park?
and pickleball things, yeah.
We
And the
had a
tennis
discussion
court.
about pickleball.
Yes, pickleball is huge, and we want to have some pickleball classes, and
Mhm.
we're trying.
Tournaments.
We'll start easy, start with lessons and teach people how to play
On like a
pickleball. and-
Monday morning, you'll have like a line, it's crazy.
Okay.
It's
Are you still
insane.
gonna do the derby, the fishing derby?
Yes,
You are?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yoga at the park?
we're trying. If the select board gives us permission, we have somebody.
Oh, good, I'll come.
Can you speak to, and I don't, maybe it's in your $9,800, but the ice rink?
That is not. The
So-
highway department pays for the ice rink.
Shouldn't that really be,
They have a parks line,
okay.
and he wanted to, that's like they've taken that over, which is fantastic. That's their baby.
I think Steve has already ordered.
You already came in.
That's what I wanted.
The boards and stuff?
ORPP donated.
This is the liner, and
Oh, the
we
liner.
had a grant from, I can't remember the name of the program now.
ORPP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that gave us some money towards it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like the highway department's baby. They started it, which is fantastic. They take care of it, they love it, which is
But I'm
great.
just thinking, they provide the facility, but can you guys provide like skating lessons or something maybe? like that?
Absolutely.
Oh,
That'd be
something
what a
like that,
fantastic idea.
Well, you know,
Or like
Well, I
Tuesday
have to,
night
the
hockey
select
or
board have,
something.
what's that?
Like Tuesday night hockey or something.
Oh, yeah.
The select board have to approve us.
They do
doing
that.
Or have like a fun ice event where
We
you
would
shoot
happily
things across
hear
the
you.
ice.
It seems to be very popular, so,
Yeah,
and, you know, some people don't know how to skate. Maybe
I
they,
can get you lessons, Scott.
I don't, no, I don't think so.
I need lessons.
I'm not getting on anything that I can fall and crack my, you know what. But I think, that could be one of those particular cases. But I'm just thinking, little kids that don't know how to
Yeah.
skate.
No, it's a great idea.
So,
It's
you
very
know,
expensive.
we could have maybe Saturday morning, you know,
Learn to skate, that's a great
learn to
idea.
skate
With the highway department.
with the highway department.
And the Steve can run.
We'll be out there helping the little kids.
Yeah,
But I'm just thinking that's something like.
that's a great idea. Thank you, that's a fantastic idea.
It's perfect.
Andy,
for
do you know,
learning
have we
skate.
received a request from Oyster River
That
Youth
too,
Association? Because I know in this recreation budget, it's 0, and last year they came through as part of the social services budgetary request.
Right.
I haven't seen them yet.
I talked with Matt several weeks ago, and the conversation was sort of back and forth about whether it was worth the time and effort for them to submit a request because it's been denied in the previous year. I think just the previous year, not years. And I didn't get a hard and final answer from him. And I
Okay.
know he had talked to Denise since, but I haven't seen anything come through from them
Okay.
as far as the request for money.
Okay.
He's on the schedule for the 27th, but I mean, I don't know if he's actually coming.
Yeah, I haven't seen a formal request from him
Yeah.
yet.
Did you guys denied it last year?
We did.
We did. Lots of reasons for that.
How about the infamous or famous now tennis court? That-
So the rec commission met in, what month is this? August, to discuss their request for the CIP, and, which was given, I don't know if it's been given to the CIP committee yet, but it doesn't matter. We deleted everything off of that, and we pushed the tennis courts out to 26, was it?
Yes, I believe it was 26.
26, yeah. It's, I can only speak for my personal self. I don't know if people use them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Will they use them if we fix them? I don't know. There was Larry
There were
Kinberg.
quite a few people that used it previously, but maybe not now. Maybe
When
with
I was-
pickleball and.
Yeah, what I was told by somebody was that the tree, we should move the pickleball court, somebody who plays pickleball and tennis, it was actually Hugh Daskell, he owns Bluebell Nursery.
Oh, yeah.
Switched the pickleball court to the town field and the tennis court because of the trees.
It would fit
But-
better, yeah, but
I don't know if tennis court is
there's no way to add, like, there's no more room
a little over park.
Yeah, it's
Only-
nice if they were all together, but.
Yeah, well, we've discussed it, but you have to cut down the trees, which, it's a great idea, but the rec commission right now, I think, just wants to get more programs going and
Oh, absolutely.
Get built
I was
on
just
it.
wondering, because it.
No, we
had
did
been
discuss it,
brought
I
up in the
think.
past.
it was 26 we moved it to, I think so.
The cost and expense of a tennis court right now is almost double what it was a few years ago. And so just waiting for that to kind of settle down,
Yeah.
then I think that makes sense, because then you can get a much better price if we can wait.
Yes.
Awesome.
Can you speak to the town fair? Because previously we've given money for that. Are you guys
Oh,
going to be
yeah.
We
self-sustaining?
would like to, we would,
This is your other half. This is-
correct,
yeah.
now, town fair. We met yesterday, and we are requesting $4,500 to go towards the fireworks. The fireworks were very well attended, rave reviews. We didn't get any complaints about the fireworks, just tons and tons of compliments. We had talked about going down to Class C fireworks, because they don't require, they're supposedly less expensive, and they don't require the circumference of protection. And I reached out to the same company, and so the show we had this year, which was 31 minutes long, was $9,000. And the show, a 12-minute show of Class C was going to be $6,000. So we said yesterday, well, that's really not,
Hmm.
how do you go from 31 minutes to 12 minutes for $3,000?
Yeah.
So Tom and I solicited donations, and we collected $8,700 this year for the fair. So, for fair and fireworks. So, the rec commission voted to encumber some funds towards the fireworks. The ag commission gave some money towards the fireworks, and the rec and the fair committee has money. So the money we raised didn't cover all of the costs of the fair and the fireworks, but it really did help. But if we could get some more money, if we could get the town to contribute some money, it would alleviate having to collect money from the same businesses year after year after year. I did send them all thank you cards this year, because we do appreciate it. And it's hard to not have the fireworks, because it was such a great, I don't like fireworks, but I'm just one person. So,
It seemed to be well attended. The only
very
complaint-
well attended.
The only complaint I had was it getting a little chilly.
Well,
That was a little
unless
bit.
you were ordering some better weather.
You didn't?
Yeah.
I
Or
can't.
better weather.
Yeah, I can't, I'm sorry. And the fair committee did vote to keep it the same weekend.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, I liked it
It
better, a
worked
little
out.
chilly myself than hot.
Yeah, it used to be second, and it always ended up on like 9/11 every few years, which I'd never loved.
And it was all, it could be hot, and there were so many other things. And as an
Variables.
employee of the town, so working, you already out a day. So it was less stressful this year having the full week before the fair than the short week before the fair, to do your job and the fair stuff. It was better.
Yeah,
Good.
it's great. Yeah.
All right, any other questions for the rec committee?
Oh, I have, how many people on your committee now? Do you need more help? Is that,
We need more help day of. We don't need, the committee is great, but
Okay,
day
that's
of,
what I was asking.
I think yesterday we counted, we need 11 more people like day of
Of the fair.
the fair to do the fair things. Like
Just for the
everybody,
committee, you're okay.
for the committee we're okay, but day of, like we need 6 more people just to serve dinner.
That's the town fair,
The
that's
town
the
fair.
fair committee, and the
Yeah.
rec committee is.
The rec committee, I actually, 2 people say yesterday that they'd like to get on the rec commission,
Interesting.
but I don't know if we have any openings. I have to look to see, I forgot today, to look to see how many spots there
That's
are. But we have 2 more people interested.
That's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
could they be like alternate members or something like that?
I'll have to look to see what the charge was of the, when the rec commission was started, how many, because we have 6 now.
Yeah, it
Agreed.
also depends on what the RSA says your
Correct.
maximum is.
Yeah,
And if you need more, maybe we should put on the warrant. I'm loath to turn anybody away that wants to
I
volunteer.
know, right?
yeah, which it was two different people that I was shocked with both of them.
It's great.
So maybe we can check and see what the RSA says and what you've got, and if we need to put something on the warrant to increase it.
And then offering people, yeah, you don't have to come to the planning committee meetings, but you want to help and volunteer too.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, so the fair committee is who I said needs a ton more people for fair day, and then there's 2 people interested in being on the rec commission.
'Cause
As you
what's-
keep having these wonderful events, you might need more volunteers for rec commission.
I know, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Really excited for the winter carnival, I think
So
that would
fun.
be great.
Where's it gonna be held?
Well, that's where we're going back and forth. It would be wonderful to have, so we, in your perfect head, I picture Hallmark. I'd like to have like a big bonfire, skating, sledding. So the skating is here, the sledding is at the park, and the bonfire would be at the park. So it's gonna depend upon the weather and like if it's skating weather or not.
Yeah.
So most likely it would be at Little River Park because of the pavilion.
You could always have some like offshoot, like a little,
Yes.
just uphill.
And now we're all
skating.
going over here to skate.
Right, and then
Yeah.
we'll.
Well, I wonder if you could get a farmer to drive a tractor back and
Oh my
forth
gosh, that's
during,
so
like,
cute.
May.
That would be cute,
Oh
wouldn't
my
it?
Like,
gosh.
I
get
thought
people
we
to like,
Winter, winter.
Such a good idea.
I wonder if we could shoot
That's
further
such a
road
good
down.
committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I somehow missed the meeting last night.
That's
Totally like, it
beautiful.
never got my calendar.
That's okay.
Get Joan to
And then
do
it
it
was like,
with the
okay, what's going
horses.
on?
This
But
is-
Steve put snow on the road with that sled. The
There we
sleigh.
go.
There you go.
Just one plow.
You just close the road, that's fine. Yeah, and there's been some vendors that want to do stuff, so that's been great, sell food
That's
and,
great.
so it'll be great. And I'm excited, the farmer's market's once a month with music, I think would be great too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Let us know so we can put up your signs. We have put up the signs for, I don't know, 3 years?
Yeah.
Farmers market
Those
signs.
A lot of them died in COVID.
Was it 18 or 19 the last farmer's market?
It was 19.
19?
Yeah, 19.
When do you
Did
do
it
your?
Well, make sure you have the bread guy here, because that will get me there.
Okay.
Oh, what's that? What are you interested in?
Bread
The bread guy.
Oh, red guy, okay.
I'm sure.
Do you get the word out, or
Is-
I used to be involved
It
with
might be
that a
a
lot,
German
and I
No,
would
it's just regular.
be happy to help.
Yeah, that's
So I just didn't
fantastic.
know if, like, when do you get the word out? Do you get it to everybody, or do we just know we have to come
Was it
see
E.
you?
Fryer asking for volunteers this year?
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, or
You do
just,
that All the time.
yeah.
I missed it, I guess.
That's
But now
okay.
you know who to ask, so.
Yeah, next
I'm
year.
gonna write your
No,
name
yeah.
Maybe we need to get.
You know how to find me.
Can you, are you done? Because I want you to put on another hat.
How many hats do you have?
Can, oh, she has so
Zoning.
many hats. Oh, you were supposed to wear your tiara, and you didn't.
Not to this, I said I'd
No.
wear it in October.
Oh,
Are you waiting to the volunteer appreciation?
yeah, she has a tiara because she's the queen or something. Can you put on your planning and zoning hat? What's happening with the water at the traffic circle?
It's all done except for the north of the circle, they were waiting on the pipe and they're starting to put that in, it was back order.
Okay, so has the water started to flow yet? or-
Yes.
Yeah, so does that mean we're gonna get movement on the development behind the Rusty Lantern?
I hope so.
Nothing that you've heard, though?
We have a nice pile of dirt.
But we have so much fun guessing what it could
The
be.
gas
It's
station is
exciting.
all approved, and there's movement on the
Gas
vacant
station.
building next to the old gas station, the old Come and Go.
Yep.
That's
Oh.
going to be a car wash, it's all approved.
Oh.
They're hoping to be open within 4 months. And then the other
What did they do?
dilapidated building next door has a coming purchase and sales agreement on it.
Is that the hot dog guy?
The hot dog guy is,
Okay.
Is he? That
he's
same
no,
guy is
he's,
gonna,
no,
oh, he's
he's
selling.
he's selling it to somebody else.
Oh.
Where would gas station be? Or is that, are you saying car wash?
The car wash, you know the dilapidated, the old, that right there.
Falling down.
But is
Is
there
that
a gas
right
station
beside
as
the water?
well?
No, it's
in
made to
addition?
car wash.
No, she
So
was talking about that.
that is going to be a car wash.
Okay.
Now go to the other side of the circle, over by the Friendly Pets.
Yep.
There is a gas station, convenience store being put in, proposed to be put in on that pad site where they've been doing the, storing the equipment for the water line project.
Oh,
yes.
really?
Okay.
And they're not saying.
Going
which
towards
one.
Route 4.
They won't say.
Going towards Concord,
Going towards
On the left.
Concord on Route 4.
yeah.
That's where the doggy park is in the back?
Yes, in front of the doggy
Wow.
park, next to the apartments.
Okay.
Is there enough room there for what?
It's a small site, but
Do we need another gas station
I've never
there?
seen a line at our gas stations ever.
Yeah.
no. It's a gas station convenience store.
They might have better gas.
How about they put in some.
More fuel efficient gas?
Like Cumberland
stations like
Farms or something?
They're
come
not
to
saying,
cluster.
that's my guess, but they're not saying.
I bet it would
Because
be
who
a
else is it
Cumberland
gonna
Farms,
be?
right?
That's an awful small site for them. You see the sites, they're putting one on Dover Point Road over by
Big
Patty
ones.
B's.
Yeah, they're
Oh, are
big
they?
now.
Oh, yeah, it's
They
right
also
on the
have
other corner there.
small
It's a
ones,
site
too.
they've got is enormous.
Who else could it be? I don't know. They're not saying who it is. They're before the
We have
zoning
like
board right
monster
now.
gas.
I know that we're trying to get an EV charger in that circle somewhere, so that's
what?
something from the.
Your best shot is to
EV
work
charger.
with the gentleman who owns the Rusty Lantern. He's a wonderful, wonderful man
Yeah,
and so easy to work with.
yeah, that's great.
He's great.
Talk with him, yeah.
And he's got the most room out of anybody on the
Do
circle.
what?
So, and what's going in the
Some
dilapidated
kind of
building?
restaurant or
Dilapidated
something.
gas station?
A car wash.
No. The dilapidated, the building, not the gas station, next to the gas.
Phillips generator.
What?
Generator store.
Really?
The same filters.
Over there in
They're all
Dover.
related.
Wow, we are an
Over
up-and-coming
Route
little
Route
town.
1 Philbrook's, yeah.
When it comes to EV charging, Tesla offered my uncle owns commercial buildings in Wisconsin. Tesla just offered him money to put a charger there, and he said, yeah.
That's funny.
I'm willing to give up a couple parking spots for money.
Yeah.
So should we get in touch with Tesla? Is that what you're saying?
And that wouldn't cost anything?
I don't know if they're still doing that, or if at the time they were.
It was
they
pretty
were-
desperate at the time.
Try to
Yeah.
get it.
We're now doing one every 50 miles minimum throughout the country, and that's, there's money for that, and then there's also the old VW lawsuit that has money, so there's a lot of ways that we have opportunities, but we're hoping, because then if you have all these places, and you can go do other things at the circle while you're waiting for your car to charge. That's nice.
Is there a sidewalk there though? Can you do that thing?
Well, there's different, they've talked about it in different places around.
Oh, okay.
Dash through the circle.
Do you know, like,
You
some
are
countries
putting your
they
life
have those
into your
big,
hands going around the circle in your car.
Yeah.
I've already done
Bellas.
that.
Have you seen those? No, but like, no, they have like, it's like a walking path, and you have, yeah, and you have like, wheelchairs can use it, or bikes, or whatever, but it's like really cool.
An elevated,
Did you
elevated
practice?
crosswalk.
Yeah, they use it a lot for wildlife.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
All right, do we have any other official, sorry, I didn't know. Any other official business here tonight?
Well, thank you all.
So the other committees tonight are not coming. Heritage.
Yes,
Heritage-
Oh, yeah.
the others are not
Heritage
going to be
is
here.
asking.
Is that coming?
You gotta
No, Ag is
update
also
it.
not coming. They are not requesting any funds this year, so they are not coming.
We don't want money, we don't want to see.
All right.
Well, that's.
That
2 weeks
concludes
from tonight.
our business today.
No, 3 weeks.
I do have some revised budgets that I have received from the library and also from the chief of police. So I'll share those with you, and then, you can review, and if you have questions, we can get in touch with those department heads.
3 weeks, right?
I have the 20th,
Yeah, October 20th is our next meeting.
which just would be 3.
Hopefully, Cord will have the minutes by then.
I have the minutes saved in the folder shared with you.
I used to be in charge of the minutes, and I had to
Being
know
like
like
the first
nothing. I think
those
one
are-
time it was the next day.
Wow, snap.
Oh, okay.
And look, you got the big chair, so that's what you got.
What do I do with them now? Do I send them to Denise or?
Denise
Yeah.
needs a copy for the official record, yeah.
Well, did you all approve them?
We'll approve them at our next meeting on the 20th.
You have a whole slate of them to.
Do we have minutes from the last meeting though?
No,
Not yet.
not yet.
He's got it.
We'll be
You got
approving
it.
2 sets of meetings at our October 20th. meeting.
3, August, last week's, this week's.
Perfect. Well, it's just
It'll be a
got to be
really
done.
fun event of lots of.
I'm just trying to batch out the work so it's more efficient.
Very nice.
Denise got the minutes?
See, that works.
So, Mr. Bugbee, do I pass it back to you?
If you're done.
Pass it back.
All right. Do we have anything else?
We do, don't we?
Andy?
Yes, I've got a couple of items that I'd like to
But if
discuss.
you want to leave,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Steve go.
All right, thank you very much.
See ya.
Good to see you.
Don't forget the volunteer appreciation,
When is that?
13th,
13th of
6
October.
PM.
Will it be published in the League Crier?
Yes.
A reminder?
Are you doing it?
See you later. Sorry.
Here.
Am I,
Here.
She's not that sorry.
am I continuing to take minutes for the select board?
Yeah, we're being recorded.
Okay.
Food, breaks, and desserts. And then presentations of the volunteer of the year. will-
Court, are you taking minutes for the ABC
13th,
portion of this
Thursday.
meeting?
Yes, thank
Because I think Denise does that, doesn't she? Pardon me?
Not specifically.
But
Denise does the
Well,
ABC
actually-
portion of these meetings?
I think you're right,
she's
Denise.
supposed to
I
do.
think she always
Denise
can.
does.
So we're making Corey do all this work for nothing.
I only did the minutes for the meetings where we weren't being recorded.
Yeah, that's the only ones you have to do, Court.
And we are being recorded this evening, even though it's not live.
And I did the August meeting and that is done and ready to be
Oh, well,
approved.
then you're
And-
good.
And you're done.
And I've done 2 more
Jeez.
for, I guess, my own edification, so.
It's good practice for typing.
At 40 years old, I need a lot of practice.
I'm trying, Court, I'm trying
Yes.
real hard. I mean, it's not like you type
Save
every
your time in
day.
the future, though.
All right, well, very good.
Thank you, Corey.
Anyway,
Thank you, Court.
summary's
Lovely
there.
day.
I had 2 items I wanted to talk about you with. I'll do the easy one first. As I emailed you, I got a revision contract back for the solar purchase power agreement that is agreeable to both the town attorney and revision's attorney. Clean, ready to sign, ready to go, and Scott left me a phone message this afternoon saying that he'd been at a municipal association meeting and run into Steve Fournier from Newmarket, who mentioned the possibility of federal grants under the BIL program that were available for solar. And,
That's partially correct.
okay.
Was
I'll
it-
let you-
It wasn't New Hampshire Municipal Association. It was the Lamprey Cooperative.
I'm
So
sorry.
we're in Steve's office, and we were talking about different things the towns were doing. Paul, why am I spacing on his last name?
From Stratum.
Yes, Stratum Town Administrator are retired, and Steve Fournier, who's the Town Administrator for Newmarket. And we were talking about different projects, and one of the things I mentioned, that we're doing this, and we're potentially gonna sign this, or we are gonna sign it tonight. And he said, whoa, there's, from the infrastructure thing that was just passed, he says there's grants out there, so municipalities can take advantage of these discounts that these investors are getting. What I said to Andy is, maybe we need to investigate that to see if that's a better, I'm not sure. I don't have enough information to say, hey, it's better, it's worse, it's the same, I don't know, but I think we should have some research in terms of that particular.
I have a call into Steve this evening, and I expect that I'll talk to him tomorrow morning. I am aware that the recent Senate bill had tacked on increases in the discount percentage that municipalities were available to receive, although there was a fair amount of language about having to be an impoverished community. And there were also some EECBG grants, block grants, for electrical work that were available to municipalities, but you had to have 35,000 residents or more in your town. Although there was a caveat that said that if you were under 35,000, some of this money was being made available at the state level and you could apply for your state. But I'm hoping to get to the bottom of it tomorrow morning, but.
Can I say this though? We've already discussed the possibility of getting a solar array for the new building. There's plenty of other places we can put solar. It worries me to stop now when we have other things we'd like to do with solar, when we have something right now that we can do, that we can afford. We don't have to come up with any money. If we do this without the investors, we have to have the money now ourselves, which we don't. So I personally think we go forward and then absolutely take advantage of things as things go forward.
Well, you don't know how long, well, that's great, but I want to know more information before I sign off on it. And I'm not saying that we need to wait, weeks. We can probably find out in the next couple of days. So if we do this on Monday, we should have some more information, so.
Is what I'm certainly hoping. And if I have to go back to revision and tell them the second time around, instead I'm gonna have to take the police with me.
Yeah. All right, so. Okay.
I just want to know more about it. And I was taken totally aback because they were like, well, why are you doing that? This money's available. Why aren't you even investigating it?
But wouldn't we have to put the money up ourselves first, which is what the investors are doing?
I don't know,
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
What are the conditions of the grant, and also what the timeline of the grant is. And I did talk to Lou, who has been very up on these things. He has come to me probably once a week with a new potential idea, and he was not aware of it. So as I said, I'm going to talk to Steve Fournier tomorrow.
Okay.
Start there.
And don't let his assistant put you off. He's working from home, so she's protecting his time because he gets way much more work done, remotely than he does when he comes in the office. So she's been protecting him. So don't let her say, oh yeah, Steve will get back. No.
They probably get more work done if Steve works from home too.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. So,
The other thing I wanted to talk about was the meeting that I had with Bound Corp, Andre from Bound. Talked about a couple of specific timelines, and if you don't have the email,
I did, yeah.
Okay, I've got a paper copy.
I have not read it yet. I saw you sent us something, but I have not still.
And as I mentioned in the email, John Tappan showed up and told me that he was inviting himself to the meeting, so I queried him a little bit, and John had a fair amount of site information that I didn't have. So we welcomed John, and John gave the information to Andre to take with him. Andre had done some homework. He had contacted LaValle Brensinger. He had also contacted SM&P. His concern, and he said that he suspects most contractors' concern at this stage of the game, is time constraint moving forward. He had the standard, option one is pretty much the standard, put RFPs or RFQs out, go forward. He said, if that's the route we want to choose, I should be completing an RFP tomorrow, getting it to contractors by Monday at the latest. And he also said that, we're going to need to plan a fairly heavy meeting schedule to move forward with Bowen or probably whoever you choose. He suggested, and when he was talking to John and I, John made it pretty clear that LaValle Brensinger was not the town's first choice. And he certainly didn't throw LaValle under the bus, said they'd done a number of projects with him. He said he had talked with the folks at SMP who had done some work with the town of Lee.
Is it, sorry, he John or he Bowen?
Bowen.
Okay, sorry, so make sure I've got the right
Yeah.
he.
And said that he felt fairly confident that they would be interested in jumping on, and he suggested, starting a preliminary process at least with companies you'd had a relationship with. He said that he'd talked to Steve White at Civil Works New England, which is one of the better civil engineering companies. I talked to Karen about that. She said, oh, we love Civil Works New England. She said they've done work for us. Our town engineer that we contract with loves them, thinks they're the best firm in the Northeast. Gave me a timeline and fleshed out some ways that you might be able to move more quickly on this. I also did some digging on RFQ versus RFP. Barrington used an RFQ, but what I'm finding is that it's used more as a screening process to determine who you want to go back at for an RFP and specifics. So basically, what the people I talked with said, if you've got a lot of time, yeah, do an RFQ. And you know, in like Connor and Barrington, they did an RFQ to get down to 4 contractors, and then they went. I don't think they did another RFP. They used it to choose the contractor they wanted, but as he told me, he said, we had clearly decided that we were going to be design build. And he said, if you look at the RFQ I put together, he said, it says, you know, we are looking for a design build to start on this date and go.
So it limited the number to choose from anyway, so. Right,
so his thought was, he said, you should at least, he said, you should probably at least decide what you want for a delivery method before you do this. It's because they were planning on about the same timeline we're using. They had started in August. I think they put their RFQ out the first week of September. They were basically, you know, 3 weeks behind this schedule, 4 weeks behind this schedule, planning to build that spring. And then they stalled and ended up, you know, sticking a year in the middle there before they went forward.
Do we have any idea in terms of these, it says 2 architectural firms.
He said if you want a competitive nature, he said I would call both LBA and SMP. He said they both know you, they both got, have actually done some work and are familiar with this site. He said, and you would pit them against each other. And so keep them, he said even if you know you've got one that you're probably going to go with, he said I would contact them both.
SMP is the one that's working with the library, right?
Right. And they've done, John had some older site work or soil work that they had done too.
That the library did borings.
Yeah, I guess. John had a hefty file and was very familiar with SMP.
Okay.
And Andre said they had worked with both firms successfully, although he did, I was really surprised when John expressed skepticism about working with LaValle Brenzinger. He said, well, he said, I know sort of what you mean. He said, they had 2 of the best people in the industry, he said, which we were relying heavily on when we started the school. He said, 3 weeks into the project, the first guy left. And he said, a few months after that, the second guy left. And he said, we're just not working well with the principals.
So, thoughts, ladies?
And the GMP is guaranteed maximum price.
No thoughts? Okay.
I think we have a lot of thoughts. That's the problem is where do we start? Unless you don't, but I'm guessing you do too.
Okay, so how about if we do this? Let's ruminate on it. No ruminating?
I don't know if we have time to ruminate, truthfully.
I like ruminating. I think
I know, but
we
that
had a
doesn't-
conversation on Monday. I don't want to force something through.
Can we first just discuss quickly so we know what we're ruminating on?
Okay.
Just a quick.
So things we need to decide. We need to decide the construction method. Do we want a construction manager, do we want to do design build? I think I know. I feel like I know what you guys have an opinion on.
I don't have, I honestly, I could go
You
either
don't?
way. So if
Interesting.
somebody sold me on it, I'm literally your tiebreaker. I'm happy with both. I think there's benefits to both. So I really.
Well, if you do design build, you're not going to get your guaranteed maximum price. So just be aware of that. The risk comes onto us, not the contractor or the construction management.
Why, I'm confused about that. The guaranteed maximum price, why is that not?
The design build process, they give you an estimate and try to work towards it, but they definitely will not give you a guaranteed maximum price.
Okay. I thought that the gentleman that spoke to us said that he had never gone over.
He did say that.
Okay.
That was Jay Carino, but
Yeah.
you are hoping that they're ready.
Yeah, but it's all where risk lies. Where does the risk lie? Where do you want it to lie? Because in design build, you're at risk. We're the one doing the project. If prices go up, it also depends that this particular building was built starting in the spring, we went into the fall, and that's where it killed us. Because the tornado season was horrendous, prices went up tremendously, and when design build, the contractor is not pre-buying stuff usually.
Right.
So the risk is to us. When you go with a guaranteed maximum price, the risk is on them. So if they, and they're not gonna say, okay, well, we're gonna have a very slim margin. They're gonna give themselves a margin. So they have some wiggle room, but if prices go up 25% in terms of building materials, they're gonna eat it, not us. Personally, what I would like to do, the only issue I really have with going forward at this particular time is I do not want to rush the process. This is a very expensive project. So I think we need to also think about, in terms of ruminating, do we think we can do it in this particular time period? Do we want to step back and say, okay, let's take a year and do it March of 2024? So I think that's one of the questions. If we go with this, what is it, option 2, it sounds like we can possibly get it done this year. The only thing is, we're not going out to bid. We're going to go with companies that we have relationships with already. How is that going to sit with the voter? Did you get the cheapest price? That kind of stuff. So those are my concerns. The other thing is, what's building process going to be? Right now, they're wicked high. They're coming down a little bit, but they're still wicked high. If you wait a year, supposedly we're in recession already. What happens in recession? Prices go down, labor goes down, you get a cheaper price. So.
One thing that I'd like to say to the board that I have heard continually from a wide range of people, people I don't even know, who know that you're
knows you.
who know that you're looking at this. Everybody keeps coming back to Little River Park. I spoke with Linda and
I'm sorry, it keeps coming back to Little River.
not Little River Park, the park right here.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Stevensfield, I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, they want to put the town
I was
offices
just
in
waiting.
Little River Park.
Well, I
right
thought
in the
maybe they were
middle.
angry about something and they were yelling
No,
at us, and it was
No.
an example of why we should do something.
There is, and I have literally heard nobody say, wow, it's great they're looking at town center.
Interesting.
In fact, John Tappan told me on Tuesday
Yeah.
that he would like to talk to me about that concern because of the number of people that in the community that have mentioned to him they should be looking at Stevensfield.
Why? Can you tell me why?
People think it would be an easier build, that you wouldn't have to take the trees out, that it is next to the public safety complex, and you have meetings in the public safety complex.
And why don't we build there? It's because it's on something?
There is some ledge there, is my understanding.
The ridge that goes around the back, that's all ledge.
Yeah.
And then there's setbacks from the water as well? And
Well, the
flooding?
bog's there.
Yeah, I think it is a buildable site, but for some reason, there's a strong perception in the community that that would be the ideal place to put the town office building. And as I said, I talked to the town clerk because Linda hears more than probably any of us, face to face with folks. And she said, oh, the only thing I heard, and I didn't prep her for it, she said, the only thing people keep asking me is, why aren't they considering Stevensfield? I was like, oh, jeez.
Do you ever think that that's because that's already a flat surface, so it seems simple?
Well, I think when people look at it,
As soon as you
yeah.
cut down trees, then it would be a flat surface. Because I think the vision was always, that way you now have a walkable experience where you can go to the library, you can do other
Yeah.
things, get your errands done. And I think it's just because they don't know where it would go out there.
So if you were not to build in Stevensville, we need a really good explanation for why.
Yes, right.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some pushback, and I will, a number of town employees that particularly the ones that live in Lee are like, why aren't you working?
And they want they wanted there? Because I thought that when we talked to the fire and rescue, they didn't want to have all of these people coming in and out.
I think fire rescue might not, but
Well, that's who's going to
they
be
haven't said
next to.
anything, they haven't said anything to me about it. Everybody else has been, and I think there's some mystique too, because Randy Stevens had
Yes,
done a
that's the
plan.
biggest thing.
And everyone has this sort of recollection of Randy and being frugal, and if that was where he was gonna put it, why aren't they putting it there?
But that's a couple of people that work for the town and they're very involved in that. And then the voters are very different. And so they're the ones who go to the library and go to the different events and would want to have a field for their kids to play on too.
I'm just saying, there are a tremendous amount of people that I've run across who've asked me, why isn't the board looking at Stevens?
Right.
It's a concern, and when you do a presentation, whenever you do a presentation, you will have to address that particular issue.
Right.
So, but yeah, this building was going to be over there until we found out that there's ledge back there, so we had to
So
blast.
that, isn't that,
Well, the thing is, this structure is way bigger than what we're proposing. This structure is like 17,000 square
can we
feet.
get a copy of whatever we did to see how big a building we could build up there?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we explore.
And
So,
has anyone looked at the floodplains recently to see where we are? Because we're lower here than we are there, right?
I don't think so, but, you know.
We have the new map that was drawn.
Well, we have I'm sure we have elevations for this site, through the planning for this building, and, you know, and we have elevations for the other sites.
Plus,
That'd be
Even
good
the
to
town
know.
center
you'd
plan.
still have to take down trees over here.
Yeah.
The proposal, the last one we had to put a structure over there, all the trees that were in the front there, they all came down. They will all be taken down.
I'm not saying that I
Yeah,
think it should be there, but I'm just hearing a lot of people say it, and it's a cross, I mean, I was at Alan's garage and it came up, and
Right.
a conservation person asked me about it, and
Alan's or John's? They're
Alan's.
John. Where's Alan's garage?
It's at the corner way up here.
Oh,
Stepping
okay.
stone.
Okay.
right by the credit union.
Yeah, stepping stone. So,
All right.
Interesting place to get an interesting
So-
perspective.
Yeah, I hear you.
I appreciate you doing such a thorough research.
so location by the side, because no matter where you put it, the building is the building.
I thought we had already decided that, so that actually is a relevant decision.
So site costs would probably be similar. I'm not sure, I don't remember, because Randy did some borings here. I don't
Yeah,
remember,
let me
we've
get all
got
the
that information too, so. But it's just saying, you'd have to have the site closer to the road, you couldn't go into the back unless you wanted to pay for blasting, which is, you know, it's not cheap, but it's not that expensive either, so.
I just wanted to
No, that's perfectly
make the
fine.
board aware that
Because that's part of the presentation process, what are the things that people are gonna key on? And you need to have an answer for those particular things.
So if we've done any research, let's get it out. Let's figure out what we learned and how big a building and anything else, and let's look at elevation and
It's
make
a-
sure.
Yeah, and it's that, my concern, if we built it over there, is the two parking lots would have to be separated.
Mhm.
Because the big issue we have here is emergency staff going back and forth.
Right.
And you don't want people, oh no, there's an event that just got out. Oh no, I can't get my fire truck out because all these people are coming out of, no. So, and the thing is, if it's at town center, then you get the synergy between the library, the town hall that we're
Right.
gonna have as a meeting space, and the town offices.
Which just seems so
So-
clearly like the right place to put it, but have they thought
I
about
have
that?
been preaching that.
Okay.
Well,
There's a lot of value to having a town center.
Yeah. And having it not be in the way of your police and fire.
So, okay, so back to the things you're supposed to ruminate on.
Okay.
So when we do it, and then the other thing to ruminate on is how we do it. So.
And I can call Jay at Carino too, tomorrow and say, hey Jay, are you still, feeling confident if you did this as a design build at this time frame is right? Not that you can go out for an RFP, but just, if he says, nah, it's 2 weeks later, there's no way you can pull it off, I'll relay that to the board too.
And what did Northland say?
North Branch.
North Branch, sorry. It was Norton or something.
They have not called me back as to availability for meeting with you.
Okay.
So we really, as much as we could put out an RFP, we already know that some people don't even have time to talk to us, let alone. So there's really only so many building companies we can work with, regardless of what we put out.
Yeah, I know Barrington was looking to winnow the field to 4 specific
They don't even have
contractors.
4.
None. I think they got 5.
Yeah.
Initially, they got 4 or 5, but.
And you've reached out to most of them, so it's not like we're, so I feel like there's some decisions that are being made just by availability. So to me, it does matter who we're working with and how we feel about them and how we want to go forward. Yeah.
So we have our,
I feel better about, so my leaning towards design build was over the timeline and the fact that I did not want to have to deal with finding an architect and a construction manager and it felt like there was a lot more people to manage with
They're
the
doing it.
construction manager version of it. Because the architect, we still have to hire the architect separately.
Mhm.
Design build was one person,
Right.
which felt less overwhelming to me and a shortened timeline.
Mhm.
If we are considering moving it back a year, I'd also say we should suggest taking the money that we were going to spend on the bond and putting it extra money towards savings for this project. So that the tax impact doesn't seem like it went down and came back up. I'm less concerned with having all those, I'm less concerned with the construction manager version of it if it's a elongated timeline. That makes any sense.
so we have our 3 ruminating points we're dealing with. Delay or not. What type of construction? An architect with construction management or design build. And then, what was the third one? What was the third one?
I wrote down 2.
What, like 2?
How
Oh,
we do it?
2. Third one is whatever.
What
Thought we had
type,
3.
where it is and.
Oh, where it is.
I
There's
think we
where
all
it is.
agreed that it was supposed to, that this was not the best location. It was really just about digging up the
But he's just
information
saying
to prove
that,
it.
yeah, well,
I was just saying it so when you're
No, that's fine.
dealing with people, you're aware that was.
right. If you haven't even, like, where you're putting it isn't even
Yeah.
Well,
agreed
I
upon.
think we just need to dig up the answer so that we have the right answer.
And if it's not the right answer and we have to open up the idea again, then we need to have a very serious
Yeah.
conversation about it, because I don't think we should assume anything.
2 committees ago, we did a grid in
Yeah.
terms of, in that particular place, if we couldn't get the church property, that was the place we were gonna go. And I think that's what people are kind of latched onto.
Right, but we got the church property, and that's the thing.
Well, you know,
Right. And the thing that I think people aren't understanding is that the desire to develop a community of walkability, places to, things to do,
Yeah.
and that experience. And if you're just thinking about driving your car from place to place, it's a very different experience.
One thing that was referenced in regard to what Scott said was, and I believe it was John that was explaining it to me and showed me a chart where they had 11 locations. The church property was the first pick, the Stevens Field was the second pick, and then there were.
And didn't he pick because he thought that way we don't have to get that church property, so then that became the first pick, but we already have it, so.
He didn't give me any motivation beyond that.
All right.
yeah, that's the thing. So
That's what I thought, I was like,
at
it's
the time,
saving money.
We didn't have the church property.
Right, so it seems
So the-
logical.
Yes, so that, since we,
It happened like so many times, every 15 minutes or so.
yeah, I'm not liking that too much.
It's
But,
because
yeah.
nobody's moving close to it, and I think it needs, I asked Steve if he could look, I think it needs to be in a smaller room, or there needs to be one for a large room.
Yeah,
This one just doesn't fit the room, it only works if there's somebody over there.
oh, well, maybe they need another sensor or something.
Yeah.
So, so those are things we have to consider. But if there's people out there that have that particular feeling, when we have presentations, we just have to have the response, this is why
I
we're
agree.
doing this particular thing. And people are not stupid, if they make sense to them, okay, that's fine, but this is what I knew. So-
And what did we learn about with the, oh gosh, whatever happened with the parish house? They came and investigated and said, this is terrible.
Oh, the labor?
Yeah, we have not received our letter yet, which is good because we took notes ourselves and have started repairing everything that they verbally said they were definitely putting in the letter.
Right.
And the 30 days don't start ticking until we get their letter.
Oh, that's
so
great. So we've already got a head start.
We've got a head start.
But what did they say? They said the parish house was not acceptable.
They haven't said anything specific to us that we're aware of. But they may ask us to, put a bar on the front door and keep people out of it, completely, employees, that sort of thing. I don't know what they're gonna ask us. Their primary concern was clutter, the storage room up here, exit lamps in the town office. One or two of them that didn't work. They wanted one placed in a different location. They wanted those lit exit signs like that placed in the highway building. They wanted a couple more of them. They wanted them in the one room with one door in the highway work area by the sand pile, which hadn't occurred to any of us that was in need of a...
Do any of these have like batteries instead of having to be wired in? Can you get like a battery one or something?
You can't use just a battery one.
Has to be
There are
plugged in.
specific regulations for
Okay.
them that we have to follow, and they're supposed to be hardwired.
Got
I
it.
think the other thing they wanted was somewhere down by the Sally Port, where the lean-to is in the corner of this building. There wasn't a second means of egress. I know Steve, that was fairly serious, so Steve got on that quickly. I think have already purchased a window and a door
Okay.
that you can
Great.
egress from, that they're gonna put in there.
That's excellent. And they were gonna work on the wall anyway, because of the
And
project.
as soon as I've got the letter from the Department of Labor,
Okay.
I'll send it. I'm gonna see who's running the Department of Labor right now, but I'm interested in talking to them too, because this was the most bizarre inspection I've ever seen. They came here, they tied up about half the town staff. It was about half social, half inspection. I mean,
Oh, wow.
the labor inspector, spent about 20 minutes telling, farm employees about her children and her educational aspirations, and
Wow.
finally, I think it was Denise said, you should maybe go down there and break that up. And I said, well, I thought they were going over, she said, they're going over everything. It was weird.
Do they look for more though than it sounds like right now it's exit signs and
They asked for paperwork.
egresses,
They wanted to see how I handled first report of injuries, which, I looked at them sort of funny. They wanted the paper file. I was actually at the Municipal Association Finance Commission, and Karen called and said, where do you keep the paper files? And I said, we haven't kept paper files for 15 years at least. I said, Primex handles, and it's all done online. I said, I do everything online, and Primex sends the Department of Labor notice, and I have an electronic copy. And she said, they're insisting that you should have. So when I talked to them, they were like, oh, well, no, if you have them electronically. But it was just a strange process all the way around.
Yeah.
are we
So-
expecting it to cost us a lot of money? And the only reason I'm asking is because I think there's some other things on the agenda for Monday that are gonna cost money, ARPA
Yeah.
money.
I don't
So
think it's
I'd
gonna
like
cost us
to-
a lot of money, but I think
Some.
Steve is trying to put together, I know he was not happy about spending a few $100s on a door or a window that we're going to install. We're gonna have to replace some of those electronic signs.
And those aren't cheap. I mean, to get something wired, that means we're getting an electrician and.
Well, I think we're around that. Bill Booth had looked into whether you can replace things in like kind that are incidental with your own employees as opposed to an electrician. And basically that's 2 screws and 2 wires, as long as we don't have to run new wires.
That's
So-
good news. So that would make it more affordable.
So we're in hopes that Warren can do a fair amount of this work. And Warren is back at work now.
Great.
That was gonna be my other question. Our regular meeting is next Monday. The meeting afterwards, we should probably have another meeting set up. I don't think there is one at the moment.
There isn't one posted right now, and that was a question I was going to ask you at Monday's meeting, if you want. There had been mention of wanting to have another financial planning meeting as well.
Yep. So I know it's on the agenda for Monday, but the 10th is some holiday with a name. So I don't know, we usually don't meet on holidays, so do you want to meet some other day that week, or?
That's Rebecca's birthday, so I'm gonna say no.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm coming.
so can we meet another day that week, or?
No, because we've also, I've got planning board, and the 13th is the volunteer thing.
The town office is open
On the 10th,
so-
I was wondering, because I saw Denise's email, and I was surprised that that wasn't a
Well,
holiday.
I think we need at least one more meeting with the financial planning tool to finalize that, at least our version of it.
Wrap it up.
So if it's not then, when do you want to have it?
I can do Wednesday, can you guys do Wednesdays? 12?
12th?
No, I've got planning board.
The alternates the next night.
How about the next week?
Could we come in from 5 to 6 on the 17th and do it? No, because of work.
I literally get here like 7 minutes before the meeting starts, and I eat in my car
Oh, that's
on the
so
way
sad.
home, so.
You're such a doobie to make it all
Like
work.
eating pizza from lunch, so I can get to the select board meeting on time.
We're meeting on the 20th. That's an ABC meeting. We could come a little bit early. I don't know if that works for people.
Yeah, is that the date? Do you have any time on the, because I could do most of that day except for 2:30 to 3:30.
Can I ask another question? We're still being recorded, so I have to be nebulous. There is a distinct possibility in the upcoming 4 months that I'll have expanded availability during the day.
Okay.
So do you have, I know you do, well, other than all the meetings you go to, what about you, Rebecca?
Thursdays,
All right, so
off and on.
off and on. So why don't we wait and see if I can get some clarity, because I don't know exactly which days I'm going to be having that extra availability. So that might free things up a little bit. So,
I mean, we don't have anything currently scheduled for the 24th of October.
I suppose we could.
I'm not available that week, I'm sorry.
The whole week.
Are you going to Greece again or something?
I'm not going to discuss it right now, I'm just not available.
But
Okay.
you know we have an ABC that week, okay.
Yes, and that's when I have to miss.
Okay.
All right. So why don't we do that, and I'll just let people know that, I can meet certain days, and I think that will free that up a little bit.
I can't remember which town it is. I was talking to select people from Moulton Borough or Tufton Borough who meet at 8 o'clock in the morning on Tuesdays. And I said, that's odd. He said, oh, it works great. He said, no one bothers us. I'm like, I don't know that that's necessarily the spirit of.
When I started,
We could meet at 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning.
When I started, we had talked about every other meeting, have one be at 8 o'clock, so the people that are free then could come. And then have one, and I love that idea, and if that's ever something that could happen, I would be on that so fast.
I wouldn't be awake, but that's okay.
9 o'clock, Thursday morning.
Maybe a little bit awake.
Because then you'd have all those nights, you don't have to rush home and eat in your car, and.
Yes, but I have so many commitments, it doesn't make any difference.
But I mean, I'm for Rebecca.
Oh, but I think that only works for him right now, though, with this schedule thing. But I
I'm
don't
just
know
saying
how
that
long
that's,
would work.
right, but that's an option and it's a possibility, and I think we should think about it, because I literally, if someone told me we were only at night meetings, would not have run, to be completely honest. So it has been quite a shock to my system, and I would love to have day meetings.
If we keep the regular meetings on Mondays at 6, but if we have these other meetings different times during the day,
Yeah, that'd be great, I mean, sure, that's great.
Okay.
So let's do that, but at least we have, I think, one more financial planning tool meeting. And then also in terms of this whole construction thing, if we decide to push it, we're gonna have more meetings.
Right, and if we could do them during the day, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Plus, that means that we could work with construction people that are, when they are working, which is great.
Which is good.
Also, we're gonna be getting this, I know I sent you a note about it. Can we get the request for the CIP, the ABC, and what was the other thing I was asking for, all kind of at the same time, so we're not asking department heads for different information for each group?
Okay.
Like we were talking, like the CIP committee was trying to figure out how to not drive everyone crazy with all the information, because we've gotten a lot of information from the financial planning tool.
Yeah.
So is there a way to compile and then maybe just have them verify? So we have they're just the budget requests that we have, but then we have the FPT's information. I guess, I don't know, maybe the thing is to compile what we think it is and then have them verify it?
Yeah, you could do that, certainly. My familiar in the process is you'd invite them in to review what they see as the project.
Just CIP, yeah, because it's a different look. So
We have a month, and we have to go through a lot, so I guess what I was trying to do is figure out how to, everyone coming in for,
You can surely ask the department heads to compile a list and get it to you without coming in, and come in if they need to.
right, and we can often, we can tell them what it is, I'm just saying, I don't know if we have 1 month to do this, can we actually make it happen on these very specific, very hard to pick days?
You and the department heads have access to the financial planning tool.
Right.
So I won't tell your group what to do, but have your committee look at that, ask the department heads, is there anything in there you want to add or remove?
Okay.
And then go from that, because basically you don't have very much time to do that particular
Right, so I'm
work.
just saying, if we're gonna have one more financial planning tool meeting sometime soon, could we say, we're gonna be doing that for both the CIP and for the FPT, could you just verify him?
Yep.
I'm just trying to think of how to save, no, I didn't say it well, that's fine.
That's fine.
It's been a long day.
It's a public meeting, they can show up and ask
No,
questions.
and I would love to have people come in. What I'm trying to do is say, I respect your time, it's the evening, I don't want to waste it. So if you don't have something new,
That's fair enough.
especially since Andy's not part of our group, so.
Specifically, it's Steve and Steve, so.
Right, so we will probably have to have Steve, but, yeah.
Two updates, I'll do it on Monday, but before I forget about it. Went to the Municipal Association meeting on Friday.
Yep.
Everything that we wanted voted was passed. They took out a few things, nothing really consequential.
Okay.
Well, that's my opinion. So everything of those particular things passed. They tweaked a couple of things, took out some constraining language.
Okay.
On, I think it was something in infrastructure. But we will get what they actually passed. So just FYI on that. I had a meeting today with Steve Fournier and Paul Duchesne about Lamprey. Lamprey, just like everybody else, is experiencing these cost increases in terms of fuel, people, and also the town of Rochester, city of Rochester is doing some escalations. They're allowed to do it in the contract. So starting October 1st, the tipping fee is going to be increased by $2.85. Next year, when the next phase gets approved at Waste Management, the tipping fee is going to go up by $4.
Okay.
So just be aware of that. This is information I'll share with Steve, or Andy will do it. But also, our contract terminates in 2027. So we're asking them in terms of extending it out. Right now, the average tipping fee is a little over $86. They're anticipating that probably in 2032, it's going to be $110 per thousand, per ton. So we're trying to see if they can give us a cheaper price if we extend the contract out, so there's stability. One of the things that the towns appreciate, which I think we do too, knowing what our costs are going to be going forward. So that's something we're looking at, but definitely we're going to get hit with that increase October 1st and then next year. So next year's budget is going to have to be increased in terms of the tipping fee, so. Just FYI.
Okay, if we're FYI, I'll tell you too, I went out with the water keeper at the Great Bay a few days ago and some other people, and she wanted me to let you guys know if you ever are interested in going and learning more about how, Lee directly affects the Great Bay and that community, how their water affects us, how we affect them. She'd be happy to take us on a really fun boat ride, actually.
Fun boat ride.
And we got to see seals, and we got to see eelgrass, and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, that's an option if you're ever interested. It's very cool, and I learned a ton about.
Did you get seasoning?
No, I don't get
Did
seasoning.
not.
No, it's a really nice.
I guess.
Stable boat. All right, maybe you're not the right.
Not the right person.
Not the right person. Anyway, so just an option for any local leaders that are looking. She's trying. It's very hard because people that are right on the coast are very aware, but they don't understand how much we affect each other. Okay.
Good. Anything else? Any other FYIs?
No.
I know, that was fun, so many.
On a did you ladies get paid finally?
I did. Just got it, yeah.
Yes, we are still having major difficulties with M&T Bank. Just as an example, this morning, I guess we get our checks back from a payment that had been sent for the credit card. And we have, each department has a credit card. You get a separate bill for each department. It makes it very easy to track. And catch up with people who aren't turning their bills on time, and that's, or getting late fees, that sort of thing. They mailed the checks back, and when Denise and Joanne called them, they said, oh yeah, we don't offer that. You know, People's did, but you get one statement with one blanket amount.
Are you
And
kidding me?
so Denise spent a fair amount of time fighting with them on the telephone. I made Denise the administrator of the credit card, and it's still not the way we want it, but she can see individual charges. So then they said, you know, and by the way, because we sent your checks back, you're overdue, and blah, blah, blah.
They
If you want to
did
make an
not.
electric payment right now, we can take it. So Denise said, sure, we'll make an electric payment. And they said, well, we can't take an electric payment from you because you are not the town administrator, the town treasurer, or the finance officer. And on it went. So I spent, I don't know, 25 minutes on the phone with them. And they have all these security protocols that make no sense, that you can't get through. And finally, I was able to make the payment, but Denise is going back at it with them tomorrow to make sure that we can get, and if we can't, we may, I don't know, we may have to look for a different.
I was gonna say, is there a reason we've chosen people/M&T?
Yeah, seriously.
They're close.
It was local.
What about any, I mean, can you not go put?
We've
Right,
been
to
with them
drive
for
every day.
30 years or something.
But they're not them, that's the thing.
No, they're M&T now,
Right.
who are being scrutinized by Congress and the Senate on a national level over this particular merger.
So if we have contacts in, like, I just have Leadership Seacoast, and I'd say 25% of my class was bankers. So would love to give you all kinds of contacts at different
TD
banks.
Bank and Citizens Bank have very good municipal programs.
Is there a
Okay,
reason
great.
we can't
Sounds
go
good.
with one of the credit unions? Is that like
Yes,
against the
we
rules? Okay, I'm
My
just curious.
understanding is that, yeah, you need one of the reasons People's was a commercial bank with it, and M&T has continued the treasury division that People's had that is specific to municipal transactions and large commercial transactions.
Yeah,
But
it might
is
be
there
worth
bank-
talking to John Tappan because he's got a contact at pretty much every bank around here
Don't we
too.
have banks in Epping too? That's not that much different from here to
The
Durham.
banking locations are very strange. On my end of Route 4, there's a TD Bank every 3 miles.
Right.
There isn't any from Barrington to Portsmouth.
Don't they have to have some bank in Epping? What is the bank in Epping?
Well, the bank that was in the middle of Epping is now an insurance agency with a drive-up window.
Looking at banks in Epping?
I
Because
am.
it's literally the same distance as
The grocery
Durham
store
and
is-
easier to get
Yeah,
to.
I don't think there's any banks in Epping.
What about, oh, there's a bank in Barrington.
There's
That's
a-
not far.
Yeah, there's like Citizens of Barrington.
No,
There's
there's
a
a-
bank in Walmart, I think.
There's a Northeast Credit Union in Barrington, right?
Yeah.
What else is there?
This area is very sparsely populated with banks.
So what if I
with
get a
number of
friend to
people.
open a
There's
bank?
a TD Bank right in Epping, right next to, right in Willows.
Perfect,
Yeah.
so let's contact
Yeah.
TD. I
Just
work
throw
for
it out there.
Citizens, and I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna suggest we work with TD. Ask them what they can offer
And
us.
really, it's for depository services for the town clerk, tax collector.
Right,
So someplace that's relatively close for her.
that's what it has to be. That's why, because I asked about the credit, I'm like, isn't that, we would save so much money on driving because she has to deposit, but.
There's also a oh no, it's an ATM, never mind.
It's just easy. So the other thing, just in terms of, I have them, and I'm not very happy with them
Who?
in terms of the transition. I've had People's, even when it was back Seacoast Savings Bank, when they got bought out. So they transferred my account, I couldn't get in for days because I don't know what the issue was. But they sent me a little notice today, it says your electronic statement is available. And I had paper statements
Yeah.
forever.
Your whole life.
And they switched me over when they switched over my account. I'm not very happy with them. I sent them a nasty notice
Yeah,
and said, I'm not very happy about this. And I went in and actually switched it back.
good. Yeah, it's like,
Oh, I hated them when they were People's.
yeah.
I actually removed
So
the
let's change
PTO
banks.
bank account
Yay.
from them because I thought they were.
I suggested changing banks
I'll
a
talk
year
with,
ago.
I'll talk with TD and I'll talk with Citizens as well and see what they offer and
Yeah.
what the difficulty of the transition would be too.
And check with your counterparts, who do they use? And who do they like and who do they not so happy with, so.
Well, I know right now the entire country is relatively unhappy with M&T, so.
Yeah, I say we go. We do not need to stay with people that don't make us happy. And if everything's changing anyway, there's no reason. I was told we've been with them forever, we have to stay with them. This is not them. This is a whole new bank that just is in the same building.
That was true about PTO too.
Exactly. See?
Anything else? Any more FYIs?
I'm
That's
saying.
fun. That's a nice night.
We're all FYI'd out.
We
Motion
didn't-
to
It's
adjourn.
really late and I have to get up
Yeah.
early.
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a
Second.
second? All those in favor say aye, motion
Aye.
passes. Even if you didn't vote for it, I say motion passes.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're the boss.
okay, sounds good.
Oh, you got it? Good.
Are we done recording?
I've got
Turn it off.
to email Steve to stop.
I just have to say something.
Okay.
Can we stop the recording here? When I worked at Citizens Bank, in the back of the bank office, it said on a sticker, that they had all the banks, think fee, not free. That's the culture of the bank. I worked there for the worst 6 months of my life, and no, I do not want to work at Citizens Bank.
I'll talk to the folks at Toronto Dominion.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Was that what CD stands for? Did you realize?
Yes. They changed it when they moved to New England because they were afraid that people would not want to deal with it.
They wouldn't.
I feel like there's a
TD sounds
Santander
good.
in every corner though, like in some, we were in Boston
Well,
and like,
just
we were trying to figure out if there were more Santanders or more Silverbacks.
That's funny.
But just remember, Citizens is owned by the Royal Bank of Scotland, RBS.
Yes.
So it's a Scottish firm, and you know how Scots are.
They were mean to me as an employee, and I didn't like them. And they think fee, not free. So unless they've changed.
Well, think. Scottish people, they're very frugal.
Right.
I'm
would like
Scottish,
thinking
my
to
wife
care
would
about
argue you to death.
You're not frugal? And I love that when you said, I was talking to somebody that doesn't know me or something, that says, everybody knows you, Andy. My goodness.
I have